All right. I do believe we're live. Hello, everyone. This is actually my first time using StreamYard on my channel. I've jumped into a few of these before, but never on my own personal channel. So hopefully it works. And if not, we're gonna figure it out. You just let me know in the chat. But yeah, hello, everybody. Really great to see you all here. We are 1 week out from the official release of Inanimate Insanity Invitational Season 3, well, I mean, not Season 3 of Invitational. It's another, it's whatever you want to call it. But it's episode 12. And it's home is where the heart is. And I'll be excited to just sort of take questions from the chat. This could just be a chill, nice time. And yeah, see what you all thought of the episode. Hopefully, be able to shed some light on a couple of things. Obviously, of course, as per the norm for anything like this, can't be spoiling anything that may be yet to come in the future. But we're talking about in retrospect of this episode and all the adventures that we went on this time, then by all means, feel free to throw them at me, and I'll and I'll do my best. But yeah, I mean, listen, like this episode, it's obviously like any of the episodes is a tremendous group effort, and just really proud of the team and everything that they did on this one, and obviously, yeah, working with Adam and Justin on it, and just like co-directing and just bringing it to life is it's just yeah, it was just fun, such a fun experience, and I'm very proud of the end result. I think we all are. But yeah, okay, let me start jumping into this chat, and I will do my best to try to cover everything that everyone wants to talk about. Let's see. Okay, a lot of people are saying hello to me. Hello to you all. Hello, everybody. Well, I've seen a lot of familiar faces. Well, not necessarily faces, but familiar usernames, familiar profiles, familiar icons. All that great stuff. Oh, I see Kate's here. Hi, Kate. Hello, Beanie Man. Oh, Spark Rizzle. Look at that. Drawing test tube. I bet you are. Miles Doodles art. Oh, great to see you. Okay, yeah. I mean, there are so many people. All right. Well, I'm sure that, you know, no one wants to just hear me say hello to a bunch of people for 10 minutes, but I will try to involve everyone as much as possible. Okay, let's see. Oh, you thought the episode was amazing. That was very nice of you to say. Yeah, I mean, I think what's really exciting about this episode is that it's sort of been one that I've been excited about pretty much since the floor was conceived. Because for anyone who doesn't know, when we were back brainstorming all the different contestants that would be in this season, the real question was, okay, well, who's going to be in it? How can we make this feel fresh? Whoever's joining, but also everyone like feels like they belong in the world of Inanimate Insanity. You know what I mean? So it's like hitting that balance. And I don't know. I guess I was just really looking for an opportunity for a really off the wall character. And there was a discussion. I'm sure that this came from Adam of like. Having the first boot, and this is before we knew that Blueberry was the first boot. It was like, oh, there should be this character who's just like really rude, just like unbelievably rude, and like does something like he's just like absolutely gets on everybody's nerves, and even like just like spits on the floor. To which I said, oh, who really wouldn't like that? The floor. And that the floor should be a character. And from there, it was like, oh, wait, yeah, well, that would actually be really funny if it was like the floor was really just like a face on the floor. And like, what are the rules of the floor? And obviously, the rules of the floor were very, very strange since the beginning. It's based on the ground. It could like teleport around, I guess, but a lot of different things could be the floor. It's not just the grass. It's also like a beach, but it's not even just like natural surfaces. He could like pop onto a stage or a bridge or whatever. So it was like, okay, there was a lot of potential with this character, but of course, kind of inherently, it's like, well, when contestants get eliminated on Inanimate Insanity, or at least the current standard for how they are eliminated, they're punched with the fist thingy and they get sent away off the island. But the floor, as he explained, he kind of is the island. So it was like, well, how are we gonna do this? How are we gonna resolve this? And I think was part of the fun of just anticipating this. And I would talk a lot with Sam, who of course is the wonderful voice of the floor. And I just said to him very early on, like, we got to do like I'll be really excited for eventually if we do have an episode where you are eliminated. We don't know necessarily exactly when that would be, but we got to do this storyline where it's just like they can't get rid of you at the end of an episode, and then we could pick up the next one, and we could just do a whole episode about it, and it was just like, I think he was really tickled by that idea. I was very tickled by that idea. I know I remember talking about like, oh yeah, you'll be like underwater, and then they'll see you, and they'll get all scared, and and it all just eventually culminated in the final product that you see here, which it was very funny to see kind of as time went on. I would occasionally see comments with the series, this season specifically, rather, of like, wait a minute, if Floor gets eliminated, what are they going to do? And I was like, oh, well, yeah, we've thought about it. We've thought about it. It's going to be a whole thing. And it was especially funny because, Justin at the end of the episode that he wrote right before this one, episode 11, Pesty Besties, it totally sets up that the floor doesn't actually like we don't see him like be actually removed, like he's still like there, like like the meat phone hits him with the fist thing, he doesn't do anything, then the floor like kind of like plays dead for a second, but it's all just a bit, and meat phone's like, all right, well, next time I'll deal with this this situation, which I totally thought through ahead of time, and I think a lot of people just assumed, okay, well, I guess he will just deal with it off screen, but no, we pick up next time. And yeah, it was just very fun to see that. But gosh, I'm rambling. I'm rambling already. Look at me. Oh, jeez. Okay, let's see. What are people saying? What are people saying? Oh, Sniffer. You probably won't stick around for long. You just want to ask like one question. LOL. Well, I hope you ask it soon. Probably it's later down on in the chat. Okay, but let's see. We'll keep on going through. All right, Beanie Man. I love the episode so much. It's my favorite episode of Invitational so far. Oh, thank you very much. I love what y'all are doing with Cabbie. Yes, I'm sure plenty, plenty of people want to talk about Cabbie. And I mean, I think what needs to be mentioned first and foremost is just how incredible the performance of Casey Landman is. I had met Casey back in college, and she just always just was such an incredible performer, and I just, yeah, I thought it was just such an exciting opportunity to get her into the world of Inanimate Insanity, because it isn't the first character that she played. For anyone who saw Fans Fantastic Features, the Fans Little Sideshow, where he interviews, different characters, she played the role of Cork on episode 4, the paper cut, the one with the salt and pepper. Sandra Back says, "Oh, I really enjoyed that episode. I love salt and pepper as well." Anyway, rambling, but yes, Casey was just so good in that little performance, and I was just like, as we were putting together the season, I reached out to her. I was like, "Oh, would you be interested in auditioning for this?" Because I also knew she really, she likes animation, and she had her own, projects. She was working on Casey the Frog, which was just so incredible. And yeah, she just has done such a phenomenal job. And Cabbie certainly has just so many different aspects to her, as we've seen, and Casey just nails all of them, like right down pat. And that goes back to just the early, like going through the auditions with her and seeing like, okay, like try it with this tone, try it with this tone, like see it with like, it's something friendly, something a little bit more, uh seemingly manipulative, and she can do all of that. And what's so great is that, like, I think there's a lot of performers that can do a bunch of different types of characters, but the way she does it is it's like it all coalesces and it all feels like part of the same like cohesive role, like it's just all very definitively Cabbie. And yeah, I just think she does such a great job, and I'm really excited that now, in this episode we get to start peeling back the layers a little bit and seeing, well, why is she so dependent on these files, and yeah, I'm sure there'll be more questions about it, so I won't go too far ahead of myself. Let's see. Okay, there's a more technical question from CompuStar 2013. Why did all the thumbnails get rid of numbers? So this is alluding to how for an Sandy Invitational, there used to be numbers on the thumbnails for these episodes, and suddenly the thumbnails, the numbers disappeared from the thumbnails, kaput, gone. And it was kind of funny because it was like when we uploaded Home is Where the Heart Is, it did not have a number at any point. A lot of people were like, oh, they just forgot it. And then all the other numbers got removed from the thumbnails. Well, most of the numbers. I'm sure people know who I'm talking about. If you know, you know. What I'm talking about, rather. Yeah. So, like, I think it comes down to making sure that there isn't necessarily as much of a barrier to entry. While it's still, it's clear, obviously, it's in the title what episode number it is. Something we're trying. I think the thumbnail art looks nice. Feel free to agree or disagree, whatever you think. Just something we're doing. We could always change it back if it doesn't work, but I don't know. We've been talking about it for a while, and why not try it now? But yeah, happy to hear the feedback for whatever anyone thinks. Let's see. Uh, elimination killed me, Brian. How could you? I'm sorry. This is definitely something we could talk about. Yeah, thank you. Gray is cool. You are cool. Okay. Yeah. So paintbrush, that's something that we can definitely. There's a lot to be said about them, and I think what's really important with this episode is that the theme. I wrote it at the top of like my note stock that I was writing for myself, which is that the theme was home. Like, right? That was the one word theme, obviously, and that ended up being literally incorporated into the title of the episode. I mean, that's really, I mean, it was through exploring this theme that I came to that title. And it was this idea of like, the island that is the floor's home, and it's like, and it's very, in a very literal, surreal sense, because most people, when they're very attached to what their home is, it doesn't mean that they are literally that thing. Like, home is who he is, you know what I mean? And what was really the opportunity here was like, I really enjoy when an episode can give a sort of singular focus, or, well, not singular focus, a spotlight to a specific character, but the way in which you bring in everyone else from the ensemble is you make it tie together thematically. And of course, for Paintbrush, the whole idea is that they have been looking for a team that feels like home. And that's, how they were really associating with the Thinkers. It sort of became this like makeshift family unit, as we saw over the course of the season. But that family is gradually seemed to fall apart, and we saw how this really kind of took a toll on Paintbrush. And obviously, like Candle not voting with Paintbrush was pretty rough for Paintbrush to have to deal with. And it just kind of is all building towards this idea of like, yeah, I mean, they've been trying to like look for purpose, as stated in episode 10 of the season, and they feel like they're lacking it, and they want to be able to do something substantial. And I think part of that feeling deep inside them was just that they there was just something off, and they knew that this wasn't their home. And it even kind of comes out when Paintbrush is defending uh the floor's continued presence on the island to Me Phone. And Paintbrush, they say, "Oh, but the floor knows he belongs here. He knows it without a doubt." And it's like, it's just like this quick moment of realization, where to me what that moment means. And this is what I talked about when recording with Jazzy for that scene, which it was wonderful to record with Jazzy. Is just so good as Paintbrush. Really, again, just nails all of the emotional moments. Can pull off like the really like fiery, angry, moments of rage, but also just these really more introspective moments where it's like, yeah, they're thinking about, wait, do I know without a doubt that this island is my home, that this season is my home, and not necessarily that this is the place. So yeah, it was just one of those moments where it's like we're starting to piece that together. And of course, the light bulb mentions over the course of the episode help build up to that too. And yeah, as they say, it's like this has all been a nice vacation, but their home isn't here. And the way they're able to tell that is because their heart's not really in it anymore. As a result, home is where the heart is. So you have the floor, who's home on this island. You have Paintbrush, whose home, is not on this island, and kind of have Me Phone right in the middle, seeing sort of dealing with all of this, being very territorial about this, about trying to control this territory. I mean, the territory literally being a character, a living character. But yeah, I mean, Me Phone, obviously he looked pretty upset after Paintbrush said that. It seemed to be reflecting about something, but I don't know. It's probably not important. Okay, let's see. What else? What else? Not sure if it's a spoiler to answer, but who's been taking care of Baxter in the hotel while Penny was gone? Yeah, I mean, I won't really go into specifics here, but rest assured, someone was taking care of Baxter. This whole explanation, by the way, of like, oh, Baxter was left in the hotel because concerts are too loud for them. It's been something I've been trying to work in for a while. I had it in like earlier drafts of episode 3 of the season, Snapshot Showdown, and it just never really fit the story, it just kind of was like a little bit too, off topic. But definitely wanted to get that in there at some point just so everyone knew, like, oh, why wasn't Baxter brought along? Because obviously Paintbrush cares a lot about Baxter. But there was a reason. Yeah, I mean, listen, I get where Baxter's coming from on this. Concerts, they're a little bit overstimulating sometimes, you know what I mean? So it's not necessarily Baxter's scene, and that's okay. So Baxter didn't go. So of course, it didn't end up being that it was a concert. That's what they initially thought they were going towards this season, but it ended up being a season. It was a competition, not a concert. So meh, but Baxter, be seeing Paintbrush will be seeing Baxter again soon. So don't you worry. But thank you for the question, Amy's trash animations. Okay, Power Rangers Fanatic 2023. I'm really loving the usernames tonight, everybody. Okay, so how come the immunity votes are gone? Just curious. Ah, yes. Okay, so apologies to Yin Yang Nation, clearly. Okay, so so where do we begin with this? Obviously, I think everyone was catching on to. I don't even know why I said catching on to. It was so obvious. Yin Yang kept winning the immunity vote over and over again. And at a certain point, there's just no tension to that anymore. It's just like, all right, well, just but like the reason to have something like this is to have an element of interactive surprise, right? Where you just feel like you're able to contribute and do something that wouldn't necessarily otherwise happened. But if this is just a foregone conclusion, then like, what's the point? So and that's why I tried to make it very clear, like it's not meant with any bad feelings. Mifone even says that he really likes Yin Yang. It was probably their second favorite contestant still in the game. Before anyone asks about who is Mifone's favorite contestant, how would he rank the contestants still left in the game? I have my personal opinions on that, but I don't think that's something that can be shared as of yet. But I definitely did think about it, and that really just, I mean, that just came out of trying to have like a little fun meta contextual way to be like, listen, everybody, we love Yin Yang, we love them, It just, but this is just what we have to do to keep the show interesting and exciting and unpredictable. So yeah, I hope that answers the question. Power Rangers Fanatic 2023. Let's see. Miles Doodles Art, you did an amazing job, man. Thank you. I mean, it's not. Listen, I really enjoyed writing the episode, but as I said before, it is such a collaborative team effort. It's like the episodes wouldn't be the episodes without the work of our team of animators. Obviously, our backgrounds. Our prop designers, everything. Our storyboard artists, our sound designers that we work with, just everyone, working with them every step of the way and trying to do everything I can, like chime in and give direction where necessary or notes of feedback where necessary to like ensure that like everything's all coming together and like fitting towards the vision of what we want to be putting out there. But you have to go and recognize everyone's talents. And there are so many people like John. Oh my gosh, John Metis, composing the music. Like, listen, I mean, I'll write a note sheet for him where I'll be like, here's when it's an episode we write, in case anyone doesn't know how we do this. Whenever the writer of an episode for Invitational will basically just go in and they'll do time code notes of like, okay, from 18 seconds into the episode through 35 seconds into the episode, or however long it is, right? We'll say something about how the audience, we would like the audience to feel during that moment, and just kind of walk John through it. And then John turns it back around with, I could just say, like, I have some level of knowledge of music, but certainly, it's pretty limited. I try to at least use that more as just talking through the emotions and what I'm trying to do with the storyline, right? And then John comes back and turns it around and it's like, all right, here's this, and it just is awesome. It knocks my socks off. You know what I mean? Like, gosh, I mean, there's so many people I could say that about on the team, but I'll just, I'll use them as a spotlight for a second, because like that moment in when we do the montage early on when Mifone's trying to do all the different challenges and the music kicks in, that was really a moment where it's just like, we need John to come in with an awesome, like cue for this. And I'm sure, I've seen a lot of comments about it. I'm sure like y'all know what I'm talking about for that montage scene. And it was really one of those moments where I was just like, listen, I intentionally don't have a lot of dialogue during this. I think I'm a pretty dialogue driven writer. I'd be curious to see other people analyze how they feel I write, but I think I'm a pretty dialogue driven writer. But for that scene, I was just like, listen, we got to kick the music into high gear. There is very minimal dialogue, and I wrote it this way on purpose so the music could really take the driver's seat here. And even though it's three different challenge attempts that the floor is ruining, the music should all feel like one uninterrupted stream of consciousness. And ideally, I wanted the scene to have this go for broke energy, almost like the go for broke energy of a musical number. I told him that like swiftly takes us to a bunch of different locations, right? Like over the course of 20, 30 seconds, right? So like go wild, make it as exciting and entertaining as possible. So that's my, genius note of like do an incredible job. And then he actually does. A lot easier said than done, clearly. But yeah, Charlie said, now this is a Brian moment. I don't know which one you were referring to. I'm sure whatever it was very Brian-y though. um, let's see. Fisha one largest alt. Will fans fantastic features return? No, we just don't have time. We just don't have time. I loved doing fans fantastic features. I thought I had a really, really fun time with it. Not just because it's fan and I've always fan, but it was just really enjoyable writing those scripts. And I mentioned the standards and practices one. It was just such like a euphoric thing to write of like I came up with that idea of like, wait, S&P, salt and pepper, standards and practices, because like in the industry, when they refer to S&P, it's standards and practices. I was just like, oh, it just like the idea just like came like flooding out of my head, and I just had to write it down, and like that was like such like a quick thing for me to be like, oh man, like I'm so excited to just turn this knob and then do this. But that those episodes of Fans Fantastic Features obviously came during a time when there weren't, we were in between seasons, so to speak. So there was the time and energy to put into that stuff. So who knows what the future holds, but at no point soon, it's Bad Fantastic Features set to return. I am sorry to say, but that just simply means that there is no shortage of Inanimate Insanity goodness on its way soon. Let's see. The Chaotic Ruby. All right. What was it like writing Bot and their experience with their identity? Excellent question. I love writing the character of Bot. I think there's so much to be said for this. You know, it's always just a matter of trying to make sure that the storyline feels very authentic and true to that experience. And I've talked about how I think as of episode 8, Out of Body Experience, that just sort of this whole idea of like it's this robot that was made to be someone else, right? Like, or at least with this like preconceived idea that like this is who they're supposed to be, quote unquote supposed to be, and they're just not. And like the fact is that they're not, and they never have been. They've just been told that they have to be this someone, and and a lot of people picked up on, and rightfully so, that there's a trans allegory to be read through that. And I think what's just been really lovely about getting to continue this storyline is kind of taking that subtext and making it more and more the text. You know what I mean? And I think that's definitely something that is just really really enlivening to be able to continue to tell that story, because it's just sort of this thing where it's like I think there's like a history of, not necessarily a history of, but like I've heard at least somewhat more recently about how there are some robot characters that are whether or not they were intended as trans allegories have been interpreted as such. Like I know obviously there's a lot of that discussion about like My Life as a Teenage Robot with Jenny XJ9. And I think creator Rob Renzetti has also very much been very open to that interpretation as it came up. And yeah, I think it's just something where it's like I think it's really trans rights are really important, and it's just like whatever things that we can do with our fun cartoon animated show that we're just able to represent is just, yeah, I think it's just a lovely opportunity to be able to do that. And through independent animation, you're able to do things like that. And there's no there's no one who's going to tell you no. Like there's no like big business out there, no big brother is going to come and be like, hey, no, it is not allowed. Like, no, we just do it. Yeah, what are you gonna do about it? What are you gonna do? You gonna take us off YouTube? Like, come on, like we're doing this. And Bot is just such a wonderful character, and Susie's, their performance as Bot, is just so fantastic. And I remember, that monologue that they give, and I remember, giving them a note of like, listen, this is like sort of the emotional climax of the episode when they come up to the floor when the floor is in the volcano and Bot, they have to sort of bring things back down to earth. No pun intended. I promise that pun was not intended when I started that sentence, but yeah, I mean, they're really the heart of this. Yeah, home is where the heart is, and I get in a sense they're the heart of this episode. Bot, of like they are able to learn this lesson, this sort of existential lesson, a lesson about how like having an entirely new outside is not this thing that makes you any less you. You are very much you, and kind of delving into the whole caterpillar and butterfly, symbolism as well was just very rewarding. And yeah, I'm so thrilled to see that there's the character means a lot to people from what I see from the feedback. Yeah. Whew. All right. Let's see. What else do we got? Beanie Man, what was your favorite moment working on season 3 so far? Whew, that's a tough question. Honestly, there's been so many great moments. How can I possibly pick one? I mean, I guess I'll start with a more general answer, which is just like I think working with these new characters has been so exciting because I know I definitely like not that I was apprehensive about having new characters, but there's a part of me that's just like wow, like characters like Paintbrush and Test Tube and Fan, like that are in this season, or Balloon or Nickel, it's like these are characters that I've known for years and like will like write little notes about and just like are very much like a part of me, and it's like adding the new like family, new extensions of of ourselves, by putting new characters into the show. It was sort of this daunting task, but like wow, I mean, it's hard to imagine life before like some of these characters, right? So I think it's just been very rewarding. I still remember actually, I don't know, I like, I there's too many moments to say a favorite moment, but I remember going through doing audio editing for the first episode of the season, and it's this moment where, yeah, I don't know why this came to mind, but it just did, where it's like Silver Spoon's dialogue when like Candle sort of takes his hand and they jump off the cliff, and there's like the screaming, and it was sort of before it was very defined exactly who Silver Spoon was, beyond like the surface level, and I was just hearing all these little noises that Justin added into the performance that became such a big part of the character over time. And I remember just putting them in and like these little like, yeah, these improvs, these little bits and bobs. And I remember working on that and showing that to D. And it was just being in a call with them and like editing it together. And I was like, oh, we got to put these in. And we were just both laughing about like, oh wow, this is gonna be such a fun character, And then Silver Spoon, and then now, now the world knows Silver Spoon. That was before anybody knew about Silver Spoon. That was before anyone knew we were making a new season that I was editing that scene. So that was a really fun moment. But there are many moments. There are so many moments. Okay. TGA. The fact that the second season is becoming a decade old and the many references in the episode gives me great hopes. Great hopes. Okay, that's a fun way to put it. I assume by hopes you mean hopes that season 2 will continue, which we've been saying that season 2 will continue, but I completely understand. I completely understand why everyone is so like confused about it, because it's not a normal thing to do, to be like, "Hey, this season isn't done, but we're going to start a new season and then eventually like we'll do more of the other one's not canceled." And I'm sure that's so confusing for people, and just yeah, I mean, constantly people are asking me the question, and rightfully so. I try to answer it as many times as possible, but just here, on the record once again, there will be more season 2. Don't you worry. Like it'll come together. Just please have patience, and yeah, I mean, this is all everything's part of the show, and I think what's important about doing references here of like oh, Cabbie like alludes to light bulb, and well more directly calls to light bulb actually, and there are some more subtle allusions to different characters like toilet or baseball or me pad that we could discuss. But I think the goal with it is always not to just do a throwback for the sake of a throwback of like, hey, you remember you like this, right? Let's just remind you of it. Like, no, like you have to make sure that you're doing like this new inventive storyline because that's what the characters deserve and that's what the audience deserves, quite frankly, which is why I try to approach this episode and make it as unique and entertaining and original as possible. And this sort of crazy concept of the floor could be anywhere and how do you get rid of the floor? And there's really no good way or rhyme or reason. They try all these different things. They get their shovels, they try to fly away from him. They, like so many different things. And yeah, I just really try to really delve into that. And I mean, that also makes me think of how it took a while to kind of going back to like, yeah, the first 2 minutes of the episode where I'm setting up all of this stuff, right? Where it's like, hey, here is how we're going to establish this storyline of that the floor isn't leaving, and eventually it gets on Miphone's nerves, and Miphone is like, that's it. I need one to find a way to get the floor out of here. It took a while to like figure out, okay, how do we do this in like a really compact way that's engaging, that doesn't just feel frustrating, where it's like, you're kind of like you understand where the floor is coming from. You're not just like, yeah, the floor. You come on, respect the rule, get out of here. Like you want the audience to like the floor in that scene. You want them to be like, oh, so you don't want him to be annoying in that montage. You want it to be like he's endearing, even if he is like messing things up, right? So it was striking that balance and also getting it across very, very quickly. And I think a lesson that I learned is that if you look at the other episodes that I wrote for this season, which were Snapshot Showdown and Out of Body Experience, when I do the first scenes, like the scenes like leading into the intro, in those episodes, I really try to be like, all right, every character, pretty much every character needs to be in this scene, or at least the vast majority of them. And I need to set up a lot of their different arcs and like things that they're going to be doing in this episode. Right. And I think it was so freeing this time to just be like, hey, listen, this first scene is just sort of about like the me phone and floor conflict and how it brews and how it's sort of this inescapable thing, and laying those stakes down and getting us to a point where it's like, okay, this is the challenge, everyone, let's go. Right. So yeah, I'm very pleased with, because when we got to the crew screening, when people were watching the episode for the first time, it was said like, oh, that was a really good cold open. I was like, yes, okay, thank goodness. I always spend so much time on the first scene to just be like, let's get everyone so excited, let's get everyone on board. Because if you don't hook them in the beginning, then they're gonna leave. They're gonna stop watching, or well, even if they don't stop watching, they'll be bored, and you don't want to start them off bored, not liking it. Oh my goodness. All right. Got another question from the True Blood channel. Geez, these questions were asked like a while ago. I'm sorry, everybody. I take too long. I'll try to go through these faster. I'll do my best, but I mean, we'll see. Okay. I really liked it. The floor is probably my favorite Inanimate Insanity character, and he brings up so many questions. So it was nice to learn more about him. He needs a therapist, though. TBH. Yeah, I think that could be said for many of the characters on our show about therapy. But yeah, I'm really glad to see that the floor fandom is strong and really invigorated by this episode. That was definitely very much the goal, because you don't want to, especially if he's sticking around, which wasn't necessarily like a for sure thing. It was more just sort of like this game time decision of like, does this feel right? Does this feel earned? Like, do we feel like we got it there? And it seems like, hopefully by the end of the episode, you're at the point where you're like, yeah, I'm rooting for this. Like, and that was also part of like making sure, like, because he literally, I mean, like the floor becomes lava. The floor is lava. Tee hee hee. I'm so clever. I'm a genius. It's like he becomes, yeah, the volcano, and like it's like sort of this crazy thing, and it's like, oh gosh, is everyone gonna die? What's gonna happen? And to go from that to then like, oh, he then becomes my assistant to the show. You don't want people to be watching it and being like, what? No, absolutely not. He doesn't deserve this. He's such a danger. He's a menace. He is a menace. And that's part of why also, you have me phone being the voice that's in there to be like, hey, I'm so frustrated by him. And hopefully by seeing a character so frustrated about it, whatever part of the viewer's mind that's thinking that feels like it's not just represented on screen, but like overrepresented, where it's like, that's an overcorrection. No, the floor should stay. Actually, I like the floor. So I tricked you. I manipulated you into thinking you like the floor. The True Blood channel. You fell for it. No, I'm just kidding. Um, oh my gosh, I'm glad you enjoy it. And look at this. Oh wow, I didn't even plan this. From VXMP, it was great to see the floor become me phone's assistant, or to take on the part of me phone's assistant. And yes, and yeah, I'm very glad to see as well that people totally got the subtle allusion to toilet. I mean, I guess like I shouldn't be surprised, because the fandom pays such great attention to detail. But me phone doesn't. The name is not even said. It's just like, oh, you're this assistant who is like clearly just messing things up. You have the best of intentions, but everything just goes wrong. You're a total train wreck, and it sounds like, and Mifon doesn't say it, but we know it. And the TikTok edits about it, which I've seen, show that you guys know. You guys know what Mifon's talking about. Oh, great question from Sniffer. Okay, so I guess this is your one question. I hope you've been okay waiting around for this, and if not, I hope someone lets you know that this was answered. Brian, is the fist thingy a living being? They seem a bit upset when they couldn't punch Flory. Thank you for acknowledging the greatest character arc in the episode. Or I mean the one that like opens and closes the episode in many senses. So like we begin the episode with the fist thingy like just ramming itself against the fence, like they're so upset, like the like bang bang against the wall, like oh, I can't get rid of the floor. What's wrong with me? Why can't I be doing this? And just sort of this subtle thing where it's like, yeah, because the fist thing has never had this problem before. It's usually just a punch, boom, they're gone, flying away. Not with the floor, and it really kind of made the fist thingy doubt itself. You know what I mean? And then at the end, Mifone is like he's seeming a little bit upset, kind of like we were talking before about everything Paintbrush said about how the season is just a vacation. Oh no! And then the fist thingy slides on, and we are like little creaks, and then comes in for the fist bump. Mifone says, "Yes, fist thing, you still got it," because fist thingy just successfully punched Paintbrush away, so they can still do it. They do still have it in them. Whether or not they're what degree of consciousness they have, I guess sort of is a little up to interpretation, but clearly, they at the very least, I guess I just like doing that because I also in out of body experience have this thing where like they're waving the fist thing is like waving the handkerchief when Clover departs, and it's just yeah because Clover doesn't get punched actually, but fist thingy was respectful of this moment. I guess that was either the luck or respect for Clover, however you want to interpret it, but yeah, I just like putting in a moment like that where just a visual gag. It's in the background. It's not even the focus of the shot. The fist thingy is great. I love the fist thingy. Best character arc in the episode, hands down. Obviously. Let's see. Gray is cool. Said, "Hey, dude, loved your writing per usual." Thank you. I try to not keep it usual. I try to keep it like it's unexpected and surprising every time. And who knows? I try to just each time got to do it again. Can't coast on the past successes. Got to start with a blank page each time. That's all we could do. That's all anyone can do, right? Kamen XII says the episode broke my heart. Sorry to hear that. I hope your home is not broken as well. Kaylin Lamb. Oh, hey, Kaylin Lamb. The episode was very good. Thank you for saying that, Kaylin. I really appreciate that. It resonated with you. Hawk Feather coming right in with a spoiler question about a paintbrush and light bulb reunion. I mean, what am I supposed to do with this, huh? Next question. All right. OMG, it's light. A perfect way to encapsulate how I feel when I see light come into the chat. OMG, it's light. All right. They say, "Hello, Brian. Did you always have an idea of bot story from the beginning? Not them being a robot, but like discovering their own identity and name? Or did you figure that out later into season 3? Excellent question. I started touching on bot a little bit earlier in this stream, but we didn't get into this yet. In terms of just the planning, and actually, this kind of ties in perfectly to the test tube exit interview that was released today on the Animation Epic channel. Go watch it if you haven't already. And within that exit interview, it comes up this question of like, oh, Fan whispered something to you right after he got eliminated and before he got punched by the fist thingy, the greatest character on the show. And what was that whisper? What exactly was it? And it was Fan saying, "You have to tell her," and you couldn't hear it in the actual episode, but the animation was lip synced to those words, and I did record those words. So what you hear in that video is something that I recorded in April of 2021, and yes, that was. This is all a way of saying that it was the plan, like when test tube sort of like comes up and says approaches bot in the first episode of the season, and there's this whole kind of moment of like, they kind of, you kind of have to be able to go back and be able to believably watch it as like this thing where it's like they're trying to like play it down a little bit, but they also seem like a little bit concerned, and so yeah, it was like the plan to then do this, and of course, like anything, you figure out the like ultra specifics of it sort of as you go, but like in terms of like the core of the idea and like the main things like the seeds that need to be planted, those were definitely there. And yeah, I mean, you know It'd be pretty irresponsible to make such a crazy crazy call like, "Oh, Bo is back alive," and just have no plan about how to explain it away. So yeah, that was one of the things where it's like this thread was planned out quite far in advance, which we do with a lot of things. But yeah, Bot is certainly no exception to that. Typoid says the floor is such an interesting character for being well a floor. LMAO. I agree, but you know what? I think all the characters are pretty interesting characters for just being objects, right? So why should the floor be any different? Beanie Man says Cabbie and Flory scene was so good. OMG. Oh yeah, I mean, whew, coming back from once again kind of returning to this concept of like I give direction, right? So it's like I write this, I write the scene, like I'm writing all the scenes of the episode, I write that scene, and I contact Casey, and about like recording lines for the script. It's this whole thing where I'm just like, yeah, it's sort of this really, it's an emotionally vulnerable episode for Cabbie, and really excited to sort of see you do this. And yeah, we're like sort of delving into these real genuine insecurities that Cabbie has about her limitations. And yeah, we'll be can't wait to see what you do with this. And then, she comes back with this performance that is just it's gut wrenching. It is so outstanding. It's just yeah, and and Sam, he feeds right back into that energy as well. Of like, the floor is trying to be this optimist, and like we have going back to John, like there's like this little theme for the floor that sort of plays throughout the episode that we see come in at certain key points when the floor tries to help someone. That was the note, right? Where it's like a sweet, simple little melody for the floor, a theme for this lovable guy. It's like this is what he sounds like when he's kind, he's doting, he's seeing the best in others. It's who he is, and it's why he'll actually make for a worthy assistant. Is what I told John. So it's like it's building this up, and it's like yeah, it's one of these moments where yeah, as the floor says, he was only trying to help, and yeah, even though he was trying to help, it doesn't necessarily go as planned. It doesn't necessarily go well, but his heart is in the right place. Because he's home. His heart is in the right place. There you go. Oh my goodness. You see, all intended. Everything I just said was just right in mind. No, it's just yeah. I'm very, very, very proud of that scene, and love seeing all the fan art of it too. Wow, there's a lot of just really, yeah. Clearly that resonated with a lot of people, that scene, and I'm very happy to say that. Tulip says, "Hello, how was your day today, Brian? Also, you're my fave." Thank you. I don't know, like like just fave, like in general, like your favorite, like of anything, or just like favorite, like I don't, whatever it is. You know what? I'll take the compliment. Thank you very much. Kate the Great. Yes, Kate is great. The theme of home is really just so brilliant. You all did such an amazing job. Yes, I'm so glad that you think so. And yeah, I mean that was very much intrinsic to everything that we're trying to do with this episode, as I said. And yeah, I hope it feels like it was accomplished in a very genuinely emotional way, but also a very surreal, original way. Kind of going back to what I said before of like, wanting to provide an experience that no one's had before. We're deep into the third season of this show. We've been working on it for what's it? Oh geez, like 12 years. Oh no, pinch me now, right? So it's like I want people to be able to come to an episode and still be like, wow, that was so exciting. I feel like that gave me something I've never seen before. And not just something they've never seen before in Inanimate Insanity, something they've never seen before, period. Want to innovate, and like a and not in a Steve Cobb's way, and like a in a good way, in a way that is done with noble intent. You know what I mean? So there you go. Oh, unrelated to but I'll humor it because it's about my favorite topic. From like unrelated, but what do you think of Toy Story 5? I am so excited for Toy Story 5. Hopefully, at some point soon, I will be able to do the genius of Toy Story 4's ending on this YouTube channel. And I'm sure some people may see that video and have a lot of different thoughts about it right off the gate before even like clicking on it. It'll be like this thing of like, wait, he's saying that that ending is genius? Yes, I am. And also like, well, if he's saying that, he must think that then Toy Story 5 is a terrible idea. No. Um, no, I do not. I think the ending of Toy Story 4, much like the endings of all the Toy Story films, really, is about this idea of embracing that life is not going to just stay the same. To embrace these new horizons, right? Parting gifts, new horizons, right? It's just sort of this idea, and like, I feel like I can't wait to see what they do with it. I think there are so many different opportunities for what to do with it. Listen, I mean, putting the message out there, Pixar, call me. I'm so committed to this. I thought of this is how crazy I am. in the wait to get to Toy Story 4, I was thinking about like, oh, what are they gonna do for this movie? And like, oh, it would be so interesting if they delved into like Woody's kind of like more like existential crisis of like he's in this room, like Bonnie's room, and like, yeah, it's like it's just sort of hard to like be here, like because he wants to be like where it was when he was at Andy's, and it was Andy's favorite toy, and it's just sort of it's different now because it's a different kid, but he wants things to still be the same, and then they're just not. And there has to be something. Oh, there has to be like some way to kind of get back at this idea of like really getting at the core of questioning what it is the toys are made for, and what if there was like a handmade toy that he started talking to and having these conversations with. I swear I have the notes. I could screenshot them. I have the notes to prove it on my phone. I was thinking about this before Forky was ever, I don't know about conceived, but at least ever publicly announced. Before there was the first teaser trailer for Toy Story 4, I was thinking about this stuff. That is how obsessed I am. That is how tapped in I am to the consciousness. I know. I like can see Toy Story in my mind's eye, okay? So like, listen, if you want Pixar, if you want to get at these ideas for Toy Story 5 faster, just come to me because I promise. I think about it every day. I love Toy Story. In case you couldn't tell. All right. Brian, you're my favorite character from this. Thank you. I think of myself as a person and not a character, but I'm happy to be a character as well. The chaotic Ruby. How did you feel about Yin Yang continuously being voted for safety for like 6 times? Yeah, I mean that was really funny. I mean, I talked before about how like why we stopped the immunity votes, but I think Meatball makes it pretty clear in the episode itself. But I mean, it was just really funny, and like we all love Yin Yang, but like at a certain point, it's just like I'm glad that people seem to recognize it. Like, yeah, we need to keep that tension, but it was really funny. I wouldn't change a thing. I think that's great. Um, Spoilery, but I will read it out loud at the very least. Cayman XII. Brian, question. Will MePhone 4S ever be mentioned, sewed, etc. on screen ever again? Like, does MePhone even remember him at all? Or do any of the contestants remember him like Paintbrush? I mean, it's very clear that, they remember MePhone 4S. There's no reason to not remember him. So I won't say anything in regards to like a potential return. Obviously, what seemed to happen there seemed pretty final, at least in terms of him having any uh, continued living presence within the show. But I mean, hey, like it's not like they forgot about him. He made a sacrifice, and that's really important. And I appreciate that you still, I mean, over 10 years later, right? Since that sacrifice, you still remember him as well. He appreciates it. It's been a while since I've done this voice. That's probably the first time I've done it in the year 2023. So here you go. Here you go. Right? You're welcome. Um, Doey says, I absolutely adore how this episode referenced season 2 so much, down to the reference to toilet. You caught onto it as well. Great. And the same music in Paintbrush's Elimination. Yes. I thought it was so beautiful. Yes, that is the music that you hear at the end of episode 14. So it's sort of an established theme for the bright lights, in Eliminations. And that was something that worked on with John. Like John, like sort of just came and was like, I have an idea for this. I have a vision for this. Because I didn't specifically say, hey, reuse this theme or like, return to this theme. I just kind of said like, oh, sort of do this thing that can communicate a bittersweet feeling, right? And like kind of all the themes we were talking about of like, oh, the Paintbrush, MePhone doesn't know, like, MePhone, when MePhone talks to Paintbrush about how much it must hurt to leave this island, he's really talking about how much it would hurt him to leave this island, right? Because Invitational Island is the home now. He's convinced himself. But, like, Paintbrush, was convincing themselves of that before. But no, it was just a vacation, and they're at peace with that, right? Like, even though they're saying this thing, and it's something else communicated to Jazzy, it's like you're saying this thing of, like, yeah, your heart's not really in anymore, but you're not upset. Like, you are at peace with it, like you're a piece like this is like you like say this with like a smile. So like because the doubts you had before about whether or not you belonged here, they're gone now. You know for sure where your home is. And John was just like, let's use this theme, and it totally worked. Certainly not the only comment we've got praising that decision, so there you go. Spark Rizzle asks, I loved what you guys did with the floor in the recent episode. We were able to learn a lot more about what he actually is and his abilities. Oh, okay. So it wasn't a question, it was a compliment, which I will gladly take. Yes. Definitely wanted to make sure that we sort of stayed true to some of the things we had seen before of like, the floor is like teleporting. And we did see that he apparently can be killed if his face is smashed hard enough, as we know from the bridge incident in episode 8, which some people definitely commented on. I was surprised how many people commented on that in Out of Body Experience, where they would be like, "Wait, the floor can be killed from that?" Like people really like keyed into that. So I hope all all those people were happy to see that really disturbing thing was referenced again, as an extreme that should be avoided, or should it? Or should it? As Silver Spoon tries to egg on in such a twisted way. But yeah, it was staying true to some of these things we had seen before, but also, if it is the floors episode, we gotta, kind of do some new things, take the floor to some new places, literally speaking, I guess, right? So that's what a new episode has to do, and I'm glad it did it for you. Um, what's your favorite elimination scene of II so far from Beanie Man? Okay, well, I mean, I guess this could just be any this is just all of II, right? So like, I mean, that not just invitational. So I don't know. It's hard to pick favorites like this. They're all my children. But what I will say is that I'm sure this is such a basic answer, but hey, I mean, it's elimination scene that I outlined and wrote. So I if anyone could say it, it's me. Season 2, episode 11, right? And which was another, of course, like such a team effort in terms of getting that accomplished. But like, yeah, that scene, kick the bucket. I mean, it's our defining moment for a reason, at least in my mind, in terms of just like such a turning point of like, wow, it hits hard, and like that's just it's always going to have a special place in my heart for that reason. Um, Crunch does stuff. Hi, Brian. Quick question: do you stop doing commentary, or are there more videos to come? Thank you, Crunch does stuff. I am just really busy. I'm really busy. I have a full time job. I also am doing an admin sanity that is a part time job. And yeah, I mean, put those two things together, and also having some idea of having a social life, some sort of me time, I guess. Although I love all the time that I spend in my jobs. Yeah, there's not a lot of time left in the day to do video essays. So they haven't stopped formally speaking or anything, but like I said, I alluded to before how I really want to do that video about Toy Story 4. There are certainly other videos that I've thought of over the years that I want to do. That Phineas and Ferb video, that Genius of Phineas and Ferb video that's on my channel, Genius of Phineas and Ferb's ending, which of course at this point, it's not it's not the ending. I mean, it wasn't even the ending at that point because I did that video leading into Cants Against the Universe, the movie. But yeah, that video I did about the last day of summer, like series finale. My first like draft and outline of that, which was fairly close to what it ended up being. Like I wrote that in 2015 when the episode premiered, right? I just didn't have time. I remember trying to make that video before leaving for college, right? And it was also just like I think it was before I got my MacBook Pro, and like it was just too much. Like my iMac couldn't handle like downloading everything, so I just didn't have time. So I picked it up again years later, and then it got like over 3 million views, and it's my most popular video, at least the most popular video on my personal channel. So like who knows? Like these things, these ideas I have can be returned to at some point. But I really appreciate that you care about the video essays because I really love doing them as well. Um, Samoso, or however you say your name, Samioso. I'm so sorry. I know I've seen your name around so much, I just don't know how to say it out loud. But off-topic question. I know you say Samio. Well, however you say your name. Off-topic question. What's your favorite Toy Story movie? You see, y'all know how to get me off topic. You just bring up Toy Story. I'm pretty sure you said you were really into it or something once. I'm pretty sure that's a joke. I would think, but okay, yeah. Honestly, my favorites are probably 1, 2, and 3 since I can't decide. LOL. You're leaving out 4. Okay, you leave out 4. I think each Toy Story movie gets better than the next. I think they are all fantastic, but they are all, they all form one saga. Why divide it up? Just you need all of it. But yeah, I would say that I think so far, 1, 2, 3, and 4, each of them, I think they just further and further accomplish everything that I love about Toy Story, but also just take the franchise to new places that, kind of as I alluded to before, sometimes I can anticipate, but it goes beyond those anticipations as well. And excuse me, really just excuse me for saying, like, I think it's just truly a shining classic work of cinema, and goes beyond that. It shows what you should do with your life. Or at least punishment for that. I don't know. I don't know. I take Toy Story very seriously. Um, Typo says the floor is so cool. Why did it take me this long to realize? LOL. I don't know. I don't know. Um, should have learned faster. Try to go through. Oh man, these questions are like it's like an hour behind. I'm so sorry. Okay, Spark Grizzle. Also, the bot stuff with the gender representation was so awesome, especially considering how many LGBTQ fans there are of II, and it turned out super sweet. So glad you think so. Yeah, that is definitely a really, really important thing that we're always aware of. Just yeah, being really just taking the show and to these places that are so important. And yeah, I'm glad that resonates with you. Um, what do we got from Gianna? Brian, how do you feel that Paintbrush is eliminated? Sad, sad for sure. It was definitely upsetting. It's sort of this thing of let's clear the air. Let's set the record straight very quickly in case there was any doubt in anyone's mind. It's not like when you start writing a script when it's like, hey, in invitational we have it so that the system is that each a writer takes on a script, a single writer, and they're writing it. They don't go ahead and decide like, all right, well, this is the character who's going to get eliminated. I've decided. Like, no, that is as a much larger group conversation. So just making it clear, it wasn't my decision. I'm not saying that I didn't also contribute to it. It was all we were all aligned on it. You could blame all of us. But yeah, it was sort of this thing of like, Inanimate Insanity, sadly, inherently is a show in which people leave. They come and they leave, and that sucks. It should be a sitcom where everyone just is around all the time, but since they do have to leave, you want to make sure that their story is told in a satisfying way, and that yeah, it pays respect to not only everything that they went through in this season, but also just the history of the character of Paintbrush, right, and everything yeah they've done, and yeah, and obviously Lightbulb became a really important part of that, and continues to be so. This whole idea of yeah the lifting literally, right? And these leaps of logic, track the concept of leap of logic throughout the episode. Yeah, it's said early on when Yin Yang first says the thing about lift us next, please, about because Cabbie says the thing of like I want to lift you up metaphorically. Yin Yang takes it very literally, and it's sort of this off the wall idea. But Paintbrush loves that. Cabbie's saying it's leap in logic, but Paintbrush seems really receptive to taking a leap in logic, and I wonder who they learned that from, right? Who they learned that from? Yeah, it's obviously Lightbulb, and then later on, it's sort of this thing Cabbie brings up again about how Lightbulb would take you on all these leaps in logic, and that was definitely something that frustrated Paintbrush for a while, as we saw. It was really sort of the situation where Lightbulb and Paintbrush as characters, you know, they as early as episode 2, Marsh on Mars, and gosh, I remember I have such fond memories of then sort of writing that and seeing that as an opportunity of like they were sort of buddy buddy in the first episode that, but I was like, let's see what we could do here of like putting them at odds with each other. And Paintbrush is sort of this pragmatic one. Lightbulb is sort of more out there with the ideas. And yeah, seeing what we could do and really lean into the potential we saw with Paintbrush's character that I thought was first glimpsed in the Christmas special, the Snowdown in season 1, where they get really angry about the Christmas tree challenge. You're a complete idiot, they say to me. I was like, let's find a way to like, yeah, like get Paintbrush to that point, and then that relationship developed so much more. And gosh, it's so funny. It was so funny recording that with Mike Berzone being like, like Lightbulb is like in episode 2, Mars on Mars, he doesn't necessarily agree with everything that Paintbrush is doing, kind of giving these ideas, and it's like there's a little bit of conflict. And Berzone, bless his heart, he was worried. He was like, oh no, is Lightbulb going to come off mean? Am I going to get voted out? and and as you see, Lightbulb seems to be a pretty popular character as his Paintbrush. So like I think it all worked out. You know what I mean? So yeah, and it all and to return back to what I was saying, the third thing of the leaps in logic, the courage to start taking those leaps. That's the second, and then the third in the end, when Bot, is running towards the volcano. What what are they doing? You know, and Nickel has no idea, and Paintbrush has seen this kind of thing before, right? Has seen these sort of leaps in logic, so they're able to look at that and recognize taking the leap. Like literally the screen direction I have in the script is like Paintbrush recognizes this kind of chaos, looks on confidently as they say in quiet awe, taking the leap. And thank you, Jazzy, for humoring just so many times I had you record that line. Oh man. Okay, what do we got? What else we got? This is a nice question from Miles Doodles Art. Do you miss having a character to voice in the show, or get a kick of? Do you get a kick out of just writing? I really enjoy the way you write out episodes. Thank you so much. Yeah, I mean, it just sort of naturally happened that there isn't any characters that I happen to be voicing, but it doesn't make me feel any less a part of the show. I think writing is definitely sort of the main thing that I love about the show. I get hands on with the audio editing and the video editing. The video editing especially. Like I like literally do the video edit. Excuse me. But yeah, like the audio editing, I'll sort of I'll put together these raw audio scenes where I'll sometimes pace out the way in which the lines of dialogue come through, but I haven't been doing the sound effects as much. That's where our lovely audio team comes into play, and Justin obviously, of course, very much helps with that. But yeah, then Braden and Vincent, they come in and they do great work. They pull all these sound effects. If we have to have like these legs, like cranking up or doing like the sounds of a volcano, all these crazy things that we need, they'll find a way to get it in there and make it sound good, right? Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I feel so much a part of through directing and writing and all the different things. So very much a part of Inanimate Insanity. Appreciate you asking the question, but yeah, no, it's fun to voice. But yeah, I think my voice is still very much in II, even if it isn't literally my voice acting, so to speak. So yeah, hopefully that answers the question. Um, oh my gosh, I'm just now seeing there was a super chat from Benny Fan Animations. Oh, this happened so long ago. I'm sorry, I'm getting to it only just now. Thank you so much. Hey Brian, Bendy here. If it's hypothetically true that Flory can teleport anywhere, what if he did leave the island and went to a different one? Hmm, very interesting question. Ah, and you gave me money to try to be like, how could you know? Thank you for the money. Thank you very much. Yeah, I mean, look, I think as we see the floor, there are a lot of things that the floor can do. The floor teleports onto that, you know, onto the hot air balloon basket. And as Kendall says, oh, we should have never taught him baskets, right? But yeah, it's sort of this thing where it's like the floor clearly, because that's not even connected to the ground. It just, I guess, yeah, it is another surface that is the floor, right? That they because they're able to stand on it. So it seems to work out in that regard. So yeah, I mean, while I won't say logistically necessarily if the floor could like leave the parameters of the island, I think that could remain to be seen. I think what was most pertinent to this episode is that they didn't want to. This island is their home, right? So like could our desires ever change in life? Of course they can, but I think the floor seemed pretty like steadfastly committed to the idea of that this is where they wanted to be, even though they were eliminated. And everyone usually when they get eliminated, they gotta go, but not the floor, not the floor. Poison stuff says based episode. Not gonna lie. Thank you very much. What else do we got? Okay, I'm gonna try to keep on going. Um, do. Oh, there are a lot of these. A lot of these questions. Lovely Neko says, I loved all the season 2 references and how Paintbrush exited. It was kind of like Clover. It was sad to see them both go, but it was like they needed to. Oh, well, that's kind of interesting since those are the 2 most recent episodes that I wrote. Clearly, I'm just repeating myself. Oh my goodness. No, I appreciate that you enjoy that. And yeah, I don't know. Try to just make sure there's integrity to these characters when they go. It's not about like being like, haha, get out of here. No, we love the characters. We love them all so much. Cole the Geek says, hey, Brian, just a question for you. When you and Adam and Justin write the episodes, do you guys choose who you want to eliminate in that episode beforehand or while you're writing the script? Oh, yeah. So I touched on this by after you asked the question at a certain point of yes. So we figured out, we talk about the eliminations before writing the script. So it's not just like, yeah, one of us will write it and then we'll present it to everyone and be like, surprise, I got rid of this character. Like, no, like we're all very aligned on that. Let's see. What else we got? I'm gonna try to catch up more. Hawkfeather, the scene where Paintbrush got eliminated and the Bright Lights theme started playing killed me a little bit. Owie, ouch. But being serious, man, that was a really good episode. Glad you think so. Yeah, everyone loves that theme. Everyone loves that came in there. Thank you so much. Doey says, I love how Bot Story is going. Their character is one of the best representations I've ever seen in all honesty and feels so genuine. I mean, that really means so much. I mean, I think there are so many different kinds of representation that can be done, and and obviously, when it's these object characters, there's a certain like level of allegory to what we're doing, since they're not these human beings, so to speak. But they all are. This is still a prism through which we are looking at humanity, and this is a very important part of the human experience. And I'm so glad that we feel that representation represented by these object characters. um let's see. Miles Fuels. All right. Okay. Yeah. This is again going back to this idea of like, is eliminations. Would you take back any eliminations that other writers have wrote, or do you all decide on the eliminations, or is it more of a one man thing? Definitely not a one man thing. It's something where it's like that. I mean, that has a bearing on the show as it continues, and we want to try to. And of course, especially when there was, the immunity voting, there were a lot. There was this real variable of uncertainty, but we were still trying as best we could to, from the beginning, really be like cognizant of that we're giving all the characters the love that they need. And it's hard to do, it's hard to juggle an ensemble cast, but you want to make sure that if they're leaving, that they have been showcased at least as much as they possibly could. It's hard to do it with the characters that leave earlier on in the show, obviously, but you try to do that. You try to give them a spotlight while also not shining that spotlight too brightly, where it's like, okay, well, obviously they're getting eliminated, but maybe sometimes you do shine it really brightly, or maybe sometimes you don't shine the spotlight at all. And you know what? Yeah, who knows? Who knows what we do? Each time is different, and you'll never know. It'll be unexpected each time. But yeah, I mean, yeah, it's something we all have to figure out in it. Yeah, as you said, it's very unexpected variable. But then that unexpected variable became very expected because Yin Yang kept being safe. So, what can you do? What can you do? Laney Gaming 1111. How do you feel when Fan got eliminated from I? Yeah, I mean, listen, I mean, I think Fan, is a character that, he comes into the season. He obviously, he's the second eliminated from this season, and he had a functional role in this where I think, it obviously, we start to see the Cabbie storyline begin, and sort of how protective Cabbie is of her files, something that we, continue to explore more and more into the present day. But yeah, like he served that role. And I think the other thing that's important for just Fan as a character is that seeing we came off pretty quickly from, at least in terms of amount of episodes released since we last saw him be eliminated, or at least last officially walk through the elimination portal on his own terms at the end of hatching the plan in season 2. Obviously, his elimination was such a big to do before. It was like his whole world was being shattered. He was like in the shell of the game, and he saw that we talked a lot about that metaphor. And I think it was very therapeutic to be able to see Fan get eliminated, which used to be like his worst nightmare. And so he goes, "Oh shucks," right? He goes, "Oh shucks, oh shucks. Well, this was fun." So it's like, hey, I mean, it didn't shatter his existence. You know what I mean? I think it's good that we see that. So it feels like it's underwhelming compared to his other elimination. I mean, that's on purpose. It's supposed to be that it's no big deal, because his life is more than just a show now in his eyes. But clearly, I mean, it seemed to affect Test Tube even more than it affected Fan. But and rightfully so. I think in Test Tube's mind, right, where Test Tube was upset about it. But I'm glad to see that Fan had that growth. So yeah, I mean, as all the characters should. Let's see. Uh, Astrone to see. Episode 8 is the only invitational episode left with a number. Oh my goodness. You all with the number 8. You all with these thumbnails. Oh my gosh. That's all I have to say. I mean, well, this is why I will say, because people were like, oh, is 8 special? Maybe 8's not special. 8 is special. 8 is important. I won't elaborate any further. You should know. You should know. Okay. Beanie Man, who's your personal favorite character to write for? This I cannot answer. I could never say, I could never decide. Are you kidding me? These are my children. Absolutely not. And you know what? If I ever have this feeling where I'm like, oh, this character isn't really compelling me that much, that is the fault of the writing team. Right? You've got to make that character better then. What are you doing? And I don't ever feel that feeling, to be clear, but it's like, I think that's that's just advice I would give to any writer. If you're just like, man, I'm writing this story and it's just like, this character is just not really doing. You are writing the character. You are breathing life into them. Breathe more life. Come on, keep breathing. Why are you not breathing for them? It's ridiculous. Oh my goodness. Um, Susie, the Dark Hero, asks, "Do you think that Inanimate Insanity's fandom just keeps getting more chaotic or less chaotic?" They've always been pretty chaotic, but I think, what's nice about having episodes come out so consistently is that you get to see that, it's less these like waves of chaos. It's more like it could be this like consistent, like just stream of consciousness chaos. So yeah, it feels like it's at its peak in that sense. But yeah, what can you do? Let's see. Jessica Dickerson asks, "Will we see Cobbs in this season at any point?" Well, and now if that's a spoiler question if I've ever seen one. Whether or not he's in it, I could never answer this question. But clearly, his image has been invoked, or well, not necessarily clearly. We saw a silhouette that maybe bore a resemblance to him in out of body experience, but obviously it wasn't him. So, oh well, oh well. Maybe we'll never see Cobbs again. Maybe it's just maybe we'll just never see him again. Who knows? Who knows? Tomoverse says the test tube interview was so awesome. OMG, glad you enjoyed it. Glad you enjoy it. Kate the Great talking about the theme of home. Oh, jeez, I'm so behind. I'm so behind. Official candle. Wow, the official candle. Candles come to life. Oh my goodness, I'm so honored to meet you, Candle. Whoa, hi. Episode 2 was so good. I loved it so much. What y'all did with Cabbie was amazing, and it made me cry. Thank you for that. I'm so happy to hear you say that. Official candle. It's an honor to meet you in person or on the stream, whatever. Scribble65 said, "Hello, Brian. Sadly, I can't stay, but I just wanted to say that this episode was amazing. Can't wait for more." Smiley face. Oh, that's awesome. I'm really glad that you think so. I'm curious. Starry asked, "I'm curious as to whether we're ever going to see the new bot design in III, or if it's going to be something we see like after II or something. I don't know." That's a spoiler question. That is a spoiler question. I'm sorry. Okay, continuing on. The theme of home combined with paintbrush. Oh my god! If you had to choose any character to do that with, they were absolutely the best option. I'm so glad you think so. We really definitely put a lot of thought into this and try to make sure that these themes are flexible in a way that just yeah, it feels like that they can not only service one character but service as many characters as possible, or at least the characters that have the most agency and significance to that episode. But I mean, we do our best. We do our best on this show. That's all anybody can do. Whew. All right, let's see. Let's see what else we got here. Yeah. Here we go. This is a fun one. Charlie coming in with, "Who storyboarded the scene in the thumbnail of the stream? I definitely do not know already." It was you, Charlie, and you did a fantastic job. It's amazing how you're able to storyboard a scene. It's so crazy. Like, what did I write in? I'm like, oh, they're shoveling, they're trying to get to the floor, and it's like this really absurd scene where this face is popping around everywhere, and you find a way to take that madness and to visualize it. And I thank you for that. Wonderful job, Charlie. And yeah, and a great job to everyone who had a hand in animating that scene as well. It was between Geo, Fusion, and Snowy, I think. Yeah, for kind of around that portion of the episode. Yeah, absolutely, fantastic work, fantastic work. Let's see. Miles rules are coming from you, seeing how you pop in the comments of my videos every now and then. Is there a favorite scene you have that you think would be rad if I were to reanimate? Oh wow, great question. Mm, I don't know. I mean, like, I think there are so many. I think honestly, you should reanimate whatever scenes speak to you most. It shouldn't be about what I say. Just keep on doing whatever it is you're doing. I like surprising. I like being surprised. What is it that Anton Ego says at the end of Ratatouille? That's right. Surprise me. Keep surprising me. But if I have a specific idea, I'll tell you. Jazzy is here. Jazzy Oliver, everybody, the voice of Paintbrush. That entire arc of them trying to figure out their home was so fun to do. I'm so glad you think so. Yeah, it was so great being able to work with you and just yeah, like be able to really just lay out the emotional arc of Paintbrush's character and yeah, having these sort of quieter moments that you nail so well. In addition to whenever Paintbrush gets so frustrated, like it's a very there's a lot of range to this character, and yeah, you navigated beautifully. So kudos to you. Let's see. Fiery Fan 22 asks, when will Silver Spoon get eliminated? Well, clearly you're not Silver Spoon Fan 22. Oh, jeez. Wow. Oh, look at this. Everyone's so excited about Jazzy. Jazzy, Jazzy, Jazzy. As they should. As they should. Yeah, Penny saying without a doubt. Yep. Absolutely. Whew. Um, yeah, so many things. The random idiot on the internet. Can you confirm that Lightbulb is trans? Also, hi Jazzy. Yes, hi Jazzy. Yeah, I mean, sort of as everyone has noticed. I mean, Lightbulb. Different pronouns initially. It was initially, stated to be like a boy earlier in the series, and then has been a girl ever since pretty early on into the show. And I think the reasoning for that, and I mean, I used to really, I mean, you would have to ask Adam for this specifically, but from what I understand it was just, yeah, it was sort of this thing of like realizing, oh, let's try to make it a little bit more gender balanced at that point in time between the boys and girls at least, because those were who we had at the time. And yeah, I mean, so that's sort of what the initial conceit was behind that. But I mean, clearly, look, I mean, what can we do? Like in the show, textually speaking, this was a character that was referred to as he and then was she. So I mean, like, what do you think, right? Like, I mean, what do you think? I mean, like I think we would have to do something to overwrite that in order to say that it's anything other than, sort of this trans representation. So I think, yeah, while that was not necessarily something that was the intent of, the young children that were bringing the show to life at that point in time, it was, that's just sort of, yeah, where it's at. And yeah, I mean, by all means embrace that. You don't have to hear me tell you to embrace it. You already have. Everyone already has. So kudos to everybody who, yeah, really enjoys that. Why do people keep asking me my favorite character? I could never pick favorites. Thank you for asking, Pumpkinhead Animations. What my favorite AI character is and why, but couldn't possibly say. I couldn't possibly say. You know what? I'll give a character that I think always deserves. I wouldn't say this is my favorite character, but I will say character that I'm really just very pleased with how they've been portrayed is the character of Microphone. I think Microphone is an outstanding example of taking a character that previously, had a surface level significance within the series of, they were this loud character. It's very, and there was some comedy to be found in that, of course. But yeah, just sort of diving into really in a more deeper level, like, they felt like they didn't have a voice. And I think everything about the plot with Taco and how that went in very unexpected directions was just really, really cool to see, and I'm really proud of how that all panned out. And I guess just, yeah, I wanted to mention Microphone since had not necessarily mentioned in a while or referenced since they haven't like really been relevant to the show. So I'll just use this as an opportunity to get up on my soapbox and say, well, oh, by the way, Soap is a great character, and so is Box. No, I mean, yeah, but yeah, it's just one of many, many great characters. Tomaverse asks, is there only going to be one last rejoin, or do you plan on doing more? Well, I mean, MePhone said that there would be one more rejoin, so I mean, that is already. I don't have to spoil anything to say that there is going to be one more. So, yeah, it seems like that's that. It seems like that's been answered already by MePhone for himself, our host. I already said I'm not allowed to say MePhone's favorite contestants ranking, like how Balloon was 3 and Nickel was 8. Yeah, I mean, and hey, listen. You actually, there's a little bit of a correction here. A little bit of a correction here. 3 and 7. Nickel was 7. So that much we know, and we know that Yin Yang was second. But beyond that, can't say it this time. I've written it out. At least I showed it to. I think I showed it to Justin, maybe a couple other people, maybe Ben as well, and it was like, yeah, I mean, this seems to make sense, or D, as well. So, but I cannot share. I cannot share it at this time. Let's see. Jazzy's doing all right after a long day of voiceover work. Hang in there, Jazzy. Hang in there. You're doing great work, I'm sure. Um, Fanny Fan 6045, who's your least favorite character to write for? This I definitely can't answer. I don't have a least favorite character. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Would never say this. Oh, okay. So Flaming Brother asks, were you always planning on phasing out the immunity voting, or was it only because Yin Yang had a crazy winning streak? Yeah, I mean, like, I think, there wasn't a super concrete plan of like when immunity voting would be phased out, but I think it's safe to say that the process was at least somewhat accelerated by the crazy winning streak that made something that should be unpredictable very predictable. So yeah, hopefully that answers the question. Um, Peppermint the Gamer, Mifon Forest gave up his body for Mifon. This got to take a serious toll on him emotionally. I mean, yeah, I think it would take a serious toll on anyone who went through that situation. So, you know, that's very much the case. Kate saying, I don't know, it's probably not important. Okay, Mr. Last time when I'm insanity. Yeah, well, there you go. Um, Andy Pham asking, what was the funniest scene to make for episode 12? Oh, there's so many funny ones, but my mind, I think, first goes to, well, I guess there's two. But my mind first goes to the Silver Spoon hot air balloon scene, which wow, did Justin really nailed the performance there. It's so funny. It's so hilarious. Like it's really like, hyping up this moment of like, oh, he thinks he's done it. He thinks it's a foolproof plan to just stay up in the air for an indefinite period of time until the floor is bored and leaves out of lack of stimulation. Yeah, I mean that's definitely gonna work. And the music really also is like selling that it's like a good idea too. And it's like, yes, we did it. And the floor is just there, and then he falls out of the balloon. And I love how everyone's putting in different sound effects for how Silver screams as he falls out of the balloon. But that being said, of course, there's no replacing the amazing performance that Justin gave in that moment. And it was really fun in the edit too, of like figuring out when exactly do we cut that off. And I try to cut it off like just like early enough where it's like it doesn't go on too long. You go, oh, I really played with like down to the millisecond of like, where's this funniest to cut it off at? And then cut back to that shot of them all just sitting there on the ground, like, oh, Candle's face bombing. And then eventually, we should have never taught him baskets, which is a line that would not make any sense without previous context of the episode. To the point that when Dee first recorded it, I think it was like, we should have never taught him about baskets. And I was like, no, 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 not grammatically correct. I know I'm always harping on grammatical accuracy, but no, in this case, it's a surreal thing. But yeah, so there's that one. And then the other really fun one, and this also came right down to how the scene was staged and everything, was when Yin Yang goes on over and sits down next to the floor. And then things take a turn for the violent when Yin Yang just starts wailing on the floor, punching, 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 because they were provoked. They were provoked. And yeah, I mean, literally, even just in the script. And this, it's rare that, we even get into a note like this in the script because I wrote in the script, the floor goes, no, Cappy, I was only trying to help. Oh, will this day of torture ever end? And then Yin Yang appears slowly and calmly, sits next to the floor in fluid animation, leans down, seems like they're maybe about to have a nice quiet chat, dot dot dot, but then starts punching the floor in the face, And it's just really this kind of moment of like, whoa, what just happened? And yeah, I said the music has to aggressively kick in, just like how Yin Yang's punches are so aggressive. This is brutal, and this is the last push that I'll take to send the floor over the edge. And yeah, I think those are both very funny, funny scenes. Yes. Okay. What else we got? Um, Seeing a lot of questions people asked multiple times because I hadn't answered them yet, so I can scroll on past those. If there was anyone you could bring into III, which contestant would it be from TEM? I mean, I think this is also like, well, I mean, I wouldn't say it's a spoiler question because that implies that we could bring some random contestant into the game, but I don't know. I don't feel like I can answer it, but yeah, I mean, at the very least, I think there's something to be said for what I was saying earlier about with characters like Microphone. I think I love being able to bring a character back into the spotlight that hasn't been in the spotlight in a while. So I think that's true for pretty much any character that you feel like, oh wait, have they just been forgotten? No, they haven't. Absolutely not. They're still important. They are loved. They are cared for. You know. What else do we got? TGA says, "I'm honestly glad that we have no control of the show anymore. Anyone else?" Hey, I mean, listen, I appreciate that you're giving into this lack of agency, right? Or it's like, hey, I mean, listen, just let them do the thing, let them make the show. That's fine. You know, we'll do our best. We'll do our best. Oh gosh, what else we got? We're catching up. Mitchwana Captor is part of the Yin Yang Nation. Excellent. Very, very good. What do we got? What else do we got? Peppermint the Gamer asked this on Twitter earlier, but what made you want to give Cabbie memory issues? I mean, this is definitely something that I think will be continue to be explored. You know, but I mean, it's going back to this idea of why is a character the way that they are? I think that's always something like at the core of Inanimate insanity that we're really interested in talking about, or at least I'll just speak for myself that I'm really interested in talking about. And I think this sort of fixation on the files and how much information that they can get from them, and there's something to be said for being told that you're a really intelligent person, or that, or at least making your identity that you are very intelligent, right? And I think I definitely can relate to this as well, of like you feel like that's really a big part of who you are, and it's that can make you very insecure when you feel like you need to look at your notes to remember something, like that you can't like recall something like off the dome, like off the top of your head. And yeah, I mean that's a very real thing to experience. So we love being able to use these characters to explore some real issues, even though they are these objects, they're these animated objects on our show, but what they're going through is real, you know what I mean? So yeah, I mean, I hope that sort of answers the question. Mason's asked, I got kind of confused on the part where Balloon and Nickel discuss about Candle and Silver Spoon. Would you mind elaborating a bit more on it? Yeah, I mean, you know, I'll try to tread lightly here in terms of just sort of offering what I think is very made um well, if not textually clear in the episode, then at least was sort of the intent of what we're seeing in that very specific scene where Nickel's talking about the butterfly, right? And they gave the butterfly so many different chances, throughout the episode. And why did they do it? It was because that was the most convenient option. You just follow a butterfly, and Nickel wanted to be that. Nickel and Balloon are still the most convenient option for Silver and Candle to just stick with them in this vote, right? So it's like, yeah, I mean, I think it's sort of this thing where it's like keep this going, and Balloon says, well, we don't have to be, but Nickel says, if we want to take out the game's most perceptive player, then yes, we do. They need to trust us. And in terms of the most perceptive player, there are sort of these seeds that are laid down for who that could be. We have at one point, Candle says, perhaps we could tunnel underground in terms of what to do about the floor. And Nickel says, that's actually really smart. Huh. Does this mean that Candle's the most perceptive player? Oh, but wait, you know, Paintbrush seemed to understand this whole thing of like taking the leap. Well, whereas Balloon and Nickel both reacted. Balloon was like, don't go closer. And the floor was volcano. He's gonna blow. And Nickel was just like screaming, like, what are you doing? And Paintbrush just knew. Paintbrush was very perceptive in that. And Paintbrush even like goes over to MePhone and like perceives accurately that Bot came the closest to winning the challenge. The instructions that MePhone gave at the start of the episode of like, save us from him now, right? And that's what Bot did. And Nickel and Balloon even kind of exchanged like a glare at each other in that moment of like a little look of surprise, like, wait, Bot just sort of did that on their own and they didn't even realize that. And Paintbrush is picking up on this. So like, Pampers is a very perceptive player. And sadly, Cabbie isn't even coming up in this, even though Cabbie is then very smart. It's sort of, there isn't anything to suggest in this episode specifically that, in any like super subtle way that Cabbie is like sort of on the radar of like the most perceptive player, even though I think that's something that she's really going for. And I think she really, she analyzes Cabbie, this whole thing of everything that Paintbrush has been through of like, you always have the same problem, and in that's really me kind of showing my hand a little bit more, at least of how I've always thought about Paintbrush too. Like it really comes from this place of truth of like, hey, you're like sort of this sensible character that tries to then be the leader, but you're getting counteracted, right? And that's been part of the lesson that Paintbrush learned, particularly with Lightbulb, of like it's not counteracting, it's just sort of like you're pushing you in an exciting new direction. Like logic needs chaos too, right? And embracing that chaos. So yeah, talked about a lot of different things there, as I do because I'm a rambler. But yeah, there we go. Um, let's see. What else do we got? What else do we got? Um, Spark Rizzle asks, I think the way you incorporated ending into the newest episode with Bot and them coming out, do you have anything to say about the process of writing that story? I think was really sweet. Yeah, I mean, I think with Bot, it's really just this thing of figuring out how we were able to, with the floor, kind of tell the story of, and it's again going back to this idea of what I said of like trying to connect all the different pieces of the puzzle of like you have this ensemble to service within an episode, but you want it to be focused. So the way to make it focused is to connect things back to a clear thematic idea. And I didn't, when I started putting together the episode, I didn't know that it was going to culminate in the way that it does of, Bot, like having like this moment with the floor in the volcano. But I did know, like, I knew I wanted that first scene of like when like Bot is recognizing the fact that the floor pops up in all on all these different surfaces, and it's like, oh, it sort of touches on what they're struggling with, and we established this even earlier in the episode of them trying to find the identity of like they haven't like fully like solidified, landed on a new name. Like I mean, there's been some stuff suggested or thrown out there, or like placeholders, things like that, but it's not it hasn't been solidified. And yeah, just sort of seeing how the floor has this approach that is just so like, embracing of like, yeah, like, I'm over here, I'm over there, but I'm always me, and just, yeah. And, we see how that really inspires Bot and kind of getting at this idea of like caterpillars, becoming butterflies. Want to touch on that because I think, the caterpillar turning into a butterfly is just sort of, I feel like a core symbol of the idea of transformation in general, right? And I think it's often seen as like, oh, the caterpillar becomes this beautiful butterfly. But like, I kind of wanted to also suggest in that conversation that Bot and Balloon have, and I think it's a really adorable and intellectually stimulating conversation. Hopefully, of like, yeah, I mean, like, of course, the caterpillars dream that, but what do the butterflies dream of? And it's like, well, being themselves, they just look different now. They just look different now. That is Bot, moving forward on this road of like, hey, I mean, and Bot is saying this while drawing the drawing of the floor and all the different surfaces that they're going to end up showing the floor, in the emotional climax of the episode. Like, that is Bot reckoning with this thing of like, it's not just you have this like beautiful transformation and become something else. No, you're still you, right? You're still you. So it's like, yes, there is this, transformation that's at play, but it is true to who you are and who you've always been on the inside, and that that connects back to what's been talked about since out of body experience of like, hey, I mean, this is an aura that has always been present. It's not just like this aura just suddenly emerged. This is who they are. It may have been you could try to repress it, but this is who they are, right? So hopefully that answers the question. Kate, the favorites. Okay, so we know who Mephone's second favorite contestant left is, but who's your favorite contestant left? I cannot say! I cannot say. Every time someone asks me, I will freak out. I will flip out. Oh my goodness. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. Official candle, how long does it take you guys to do I? Like, y'all were so fast in episode 1 through episode 12. Like, how? Y'all are amazing. I mean, what's crazy is that it's already been almost 2 years since we started season 3, and it does not feel like that because it just feels like we've been, coming at this so fast, and even with everything else going on in our lives, we're doing it fast. But yeah, I mean, we do our best. It obviously takes several weeks, more than a month at this point, but that changes. It's fluid each time. It's not exactly the same, range of time. But I will say, the process of doing it, because at a certain point with season 2, it would be like we would spend so much time working on an episode, and it was just like climbing a mountain every time. It was like you would climb a mountain a couple times a year, and it would be like a long, it wouldn't just be like, oh, you show up and then you climb it. Like, you have to like plan for that trip, to plan to make the climb. But now it's like, hey, I mean, we're going over to that mountain a lot. Like, we never leave. Like, we never go home. Like, we're really in it. Of like, we're continuing to make these. So I think that has just been very educational for us in terms of fully immersing ourselves in the production experience, not feeling like we have to relearn the entire process because it's been so long since we did it before. And not even like it's been so long, because it's never that it's like been so long. Like, we've never like just been like, oh, we're then stopping doing this. But like, just the fact that it's so fast, like, it helps. You just feel like when you're kind of like in the habit of it, like just like continuing to like keep it going, it almost like makes it easier. It feels like, yeah, you just keep the momentum going. Yeah, that momentum, that's the word, momentum. Oh my goodness. Guardy Lou, are there any future shorts planned? I miss seeing the folks staying at Hotel OJ. Me too, but as we said earlier, we're really busy. Really, really busy. Dan the minifig says John Means' music is genuinely so good. I so agree. I so agree with that. I'm glad you think so too. Yeah, I mean, you know, shout out to John. Shout out to John always. And shout out to you as well, for being awesome. Dan the minifig. Well done. Well done. What else we got? Okay, hey Brian, question. If you were to vote for someone to rejoin in, who would it be and why? Cannot answer, but they ask also, can I get a high Ace in Van's voice? No one has been doing voice requests in this, but since you asked, and no one else has asked, but you asked, and you were the first to ask. Hi, Ace! Hello to you, Ace. It is me, Fan, giving you a greeting. Customized, live, just for you. All right, there you go. Let's see. People, when I was talking about the montage music. Oh gosh, so fast. I eat toothbrushes. We'll be posting a season 3 soundtrack soon. The music is so good. Yeah, I mean, we'll have to do one at some point. I'm sure. I'm sure. The music is fantastic in the show. I swear. Really appreciate that. Really appreciate that. Yeah, they're talking soundtrack. Soundtrack. Yep. Yep. Mm. The True Blood channel. Me and one of my partners noticed that the floor's angry voice lines in episode 12 sounded and felt different from his angry voice lines in episode 4. Is there any behind the scenes reasons for this? Well, I mean, I think that's more just a testament to how, I mean, I remember giving Sam specific direction of like, let's push this, right? Of like, it's starting to, we first get the thing of, there are sort of these two moments where, the floor is initially provoked during the shoveling scene when it's like, he ends here and Yin Yang gets him and it's like and he does it's this great moment of like, yeah, when the shoveling happens and he puts the shovel in before the floor pops into there and he got him and it's like, whoa, face it face, you don't belong here anymore. And it's hitting, even though it doesn't use the word home yet, it's very much like the first, it's like the precursor to that later moment we get, and then the yes I do and the shaking and like, the voice, yeah, it needed to be something we've never quite heard before because we've never seen the ground shake before. I think for me it's a very underrated line. What follows of like, is it just me or did the ground start to move? Hello, you wouldn't stop moving. Pay more attention. That is, I think, in terms of lines that I don't see, or at least comedic moments that I don't see everyone talking about, that I really love. That one is definitely way up there for me. Yeah, it's just Marco's performance of it really just is so perfect. Like I could hear it when I wrote it, and sure enough, it sort of came alive in that moment. And yeah, then later on when the floor, does the big thing of like the really like coming at this idea of like, give it up dirty, you're going home for the last time, I am home. Like these are very important lines, and also it's, yeah, what leads the floor to like go into this volcano. So it's more angry than we had saw him in the Overthinkers previously. It's very, 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 very crazy. Julian Alejandro TV says the episode was very enjoyable, hoping for a great season finale. I hope so too. Eventually we'll get there. I hate toothbrushes. Are you ever going to post on the Tumblr blog again? It feels so empty. I'm assuming you mean Fan's Tumblr blog. Just like me, Fan has also been very busy. Fan has been very busy. Oh my goodness, everyone is like, "Oh, rip FFF, rip FFF." God, yo, there hasn't been fantastic features in a while. This isn't news. Okay, I appreciate that you love it so much, and who knows? Who knows what could happen in the future? Who knows? Justin really said this on the Tumblr, guys. Thank you. I eat toothbrushes. Thank you. Yes, shout out to Justin. Gotta love Justin. Okay. Still scrolling through. Still scrolling through. Marla Pickleson asks, "Hello, Brian. How did Fan know about Bo?" Great question. Fan is a fan of Inanimate Sandy, in case you didn't know. And as he said in season 2, in it's Kick in the Right Direction, he kind of like goes on about how he loves Bo so much to the point that he doesn't want his little egg to hatch into a subpar Bo-less season. Bo is just one of those characters, and as as Adam, or the Adam bot, as we eventually found out, says, like, oh, you gotta have Bo on in season one, right? Like, you gotta. It's just such a funny character, and a fan is meant to, fan is like the Inanimate Insanity fandom in that sense, in terms of really responding strongly to Bo. So yeah, like, fan love Bo. Bo's just fun. Bo was fun, and it was obviously very tragic what happened to her, and he didn't want to have to, live in the reality where there was that tragedy. Let's see what else. Cardi Lou loves bots so much, they resonate so strongly, they feel so authentic. I'm so glad that you think so. Official candle question: what was the hardest episode y'all worked on? It's still got to be hatching the plan, I think. Our 30-minute special. And it sure was. But what a rewarding experience. And in many ways it, is still our magnum opus at this point. But I mean, it's hard to say. Like, it's so, like, you would certainly hope for, the extended production time and just resources put into that episode, that it would be able to hit that level. And I think it really does, at least for me. And yeah, but I mean, there's so many episodes so proud of, and we're working so hard on all of them. I mean, this newest one, I was like, I mean, last night, because we're getting, some of the scenes finalized, like, pretty close to the end. Adam, oh my God, he did such a good job, like, drawing those drawings that you see, but like those drawings that you see from Bot are drawings Adam drew in real life, and you could see he posted them on his Twitter. I definitely encourage you to check it out. And he did those literally, like, I had given direction of, like, oh, it should be like, it should show the floor on different surfaces of, like, this or whatever, or, like, different things of, like, oh, put the they them pronouns on this for Bot, and, like, that we see that there aren't eyelashes, and that the triangles are different now. And then we got to that, they're more like butterfly-esque, so to speak. And yeah, I mean, we talked about this stuff, but then Adam, he has to actually bring it to life, and he talked about, like, getting, like, the composition down of them, what that drawing looked like, particularly with the composition of the one with all the different surfaces that then the floor is on. And yeah, it's great. And he did that all, that was the night before the episode came out, y'all. He got it done. And I mean, those scenes were done, but it was just be like, it was like a template of, like, Bots holding up a paper, but you don't see what's on the paper. So, like, it was just sort of this thing where it's like, we got to get that in there. And Adam wanted to draw them himself, and he did an amazing job with them. And I mean, just like, yeah, I mean, there's so many, obviously, the creator of the show, so many incredible things he's accomplished. This is just the latest of many great achievements. But yeah, they came out so good. And yeah, we were working very hard late that night. And I stayed up really late, probably later than I ever have in my whole life, to just put finishing touches on the edit. And it's just me. It's me being a perfectionist, being like, gotta make sure this is good. Okay, well, maybe this needs 1 millisecond less. Oh, what if we put in this sound effect? Oh my gosh, we gotta hear Cabbie rolling. Oh my gosh. Oh jeez. Always working hard. Legendant asks, how do you get good at writing for II? Or yeah, writing for II. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, yeah, thank you for saying that. Honestly, each time it's just sort of like, you come at you come to that blank page, the infamous blank page that all writers hate staring at. And each time there's a part inside of you, or at least a part inside of me, that's like, you know what? This is where it ends. I'm not going to be able to put any words on this page, even though, like, before I get to that, I've written so many notes of, like, different ideas. So it's like, I'll have that to go back to. So it's not even like I'll ever have nothing, but still, it's like the actual script, like, it hasn't necessarily been written out yet, or maybe I've done, like, excerpts of potential, like, dialogue exchanges that could occur. But it's like, what could this be? I don't know. I don't know if I could do it. Oh gosh, this is the end. This is the end of my writing career. I cannot write another script. But just have to go back to, I just have to point back to the previous times that I've done it, and how proud I am of those. And I'm like, all right, well, I guess it always seems to work out somehow. So I'll have a little bit of faith in myself, and I just do it. And I don't know. You gotta have, like, some level of structure in place. Not necessarily that you have to, like, outline it beat for beat beforehand. I think that can be very constricting as well. But definitely have ideas of, like, even write out, like, what's going on with each of them, right? Just, like, sort of write that out. That's something that I think is always very helpful for me. Of, like, this is sort of this character's journey in the episode, or what they're concerned with, or what part they have to play in it. And then you could maybe do a very, like, base idea of like, okay, this scene, this scene, this scene, and not get like too nitty gritty with it. But we've done a bunch of different kinds of things over the years. I know with season two, I would do these outlines that were very elaborate, um, very much like, okay, we get this scene, then this scene, then this scene, and then maybe also even like breaking down each character. I think the first time I did that was for episode 7 of season 2. Everything's AOJ. But I remember, yeah, doing it for that one, and oh, it was so fun doing it for Kick the Bucket as well, because that was such a, I mean, such a extremely long, like the longest episode we've done, basically still is, and yeah, just figuring out how that could all work out. Two A plots basically in that episode. I mean, oh my goodness, there's a lot happening in it, and yeah, you just try to, find a way for it all to share the screen and for everything to connect and yeah, thematically tie in. What's the themes you're talking about? What are the characters that you need to do? Are there enough turns happening? Are there like is the story moving forward? Are you keeping the viewer engaged? There are so many things you go back through and like, you add a pass for. Something is funny. I remember at one point when I was doing this pass of like what I'm talking about, of like, oh, what are all the different characters doing in the episode of this episode, specifically Home is Where the Heart Is. And I was like, all right, I'm figuring it all out. Oh, the floor is feeling like a little bit of an afterthought in this. Right? Because then it becomes a thing of like, oh shoot, I'm like so focused on servicing everybody, but like the floor is the core of the episode. Hey, that rhymed. It's sort of the core of the episode, and you can't forget that. So things need to connect back to it. So that's why it's like Bod is then tied into that. Cabbie, of course, has that great exchange with the floor. Yin Yang and floor have like this like back and forth. There are so many of these different things that occur. So trying to make sure that everything can feel as cohesive as possible. And yeah, that takes multiple different passes. Jazzy says there's a lot in Bot's overall story that struck a chord with me as a trans person myself. That means so much to hear, Jazzy. I'm so glad to hear that. Thank you so much for telling me that. Let's see. What else do we have? Bugs Lugs question: would you all ever consider making commentary editions of episodes season 2 and season 3? Whenever I watch shows I really like, I enjoy listening to the creators talk about the behind the scenes process of it. Well, I think as you can see by the fact that, oh my gosh, I've been talking for an hour and 45 minutes, we can clearly talk for longer than the runtime of the episode. So hopefully at some point we're able to do commentaries, but it's a daunting task, like, because you got to fit in everything that we would want to say into the runtime of an episode. I always appreciate it because I love listening to commentary to like Pixar movies and stuff like that. I always appreciated with the Simpsons movie. If you ever got that commentary, and they don't preserve this on Disney Plus because they just put this in as an audio track, but like on the DVD and I think maybe the Blu-ray as well, you would watch the movie and they would be like, you know what, actually let's pause it here. We want to talk some more, and then it would literally like be a freeze frame for like however many minutes, and then they would keep talking about something, so they could talk for longer than the movie. I thought that was just so cool. So maybe we would do something like that. I don't know. Maybe. Um, Spark Rosal, Brian, this is a more general question, but what shows or pieces of media have been your biggest influences for writing? Toy Story, Pixar, you know, those are really up there. I mean, there are so many great shows. Community, Steven Universe, BoJack Horseman, The Good Place. You know, gosh, so many. Um, The After Party is a recent really great show that I think it doesn't get enough appreciation. And hopefully we'll continue to get more as it continues. Poker Face, another great one. I mean, yeah, but both of these like kind of murdery shows that are a little bit more mature, but in such different ways, and they're both so great. There are so many. I love the Back to the Future movies. I mean, Marcel the Shell with Shoes On, y'all. This movie was so great. It's such a great movie. Like, I mean, oh gosh, I'm gonna ramble so much. I can't keep going with this. But yeah, I Toothbrush says, I just wanted to say how much I means to me. Oh my god, it helped me find new friends. It just made me so happy. Thank you so much, Brian. That just warms my heart. And I helped me find new friends. Like, I mean, it means so much to me, and the fact it means so much to you too. That's just great. Let's see. Typo it says trans rights. Gosh, I love the rep in this show for that. It really strikes so many chords for a lot of people, myself included. Thank you so much for saying that. Yeah, heck yeah, trans rights. I agree. Vile, 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 vile. That's a line I'm very proud of. That vile thinks he has it all figured out. Taco said, yeah. I remember being like, oh man, this is perfect because it's wordplay that you couldn't do in any other show or with any other character, right? Because when is there ever a vile that even is personified? So it's just taking advantage of crazy world of this inanimate insanity land, as it were. Oh my goodness. Okay, I'm gonna keep scrolling. I'm gonna keep scrolling and scrolling. Strong to say it makes me more happy than you can ever imagine to see representation like this in your guys' shows. Thank you so much for all you do. Really appreciate it. Um, really, really appreciate that. Thank you. Let's see. Kate the Great, favorite arc of season 3 so far. Ah, once again, asking for the favorites. I mean, I guess like I'll entertain the idea of an answer here by saying I'm very pleased with what we've been able to accomplish with Bot so far, and I think that's definitely been a storyline that's taken taken center stage quite a bit. I'm definitely very proud of that one. So why I would never say favorites, and if you say that I did, I'll deny it. But that's a pretty great one. I'm really happy to see how much everyone loves it too, as evidenced by this chat as well. Let's see. Marla Pickleton. Hey there, Brian Cox. First question. Why is Fan so famous? Because he's on a popular show. There you go. There you go. Um, let's keep going through this. Hmm. Interesting. Peppermint the Gamer. Ooh, Brian, are you aware of the Enneagram system? However you say it. And have you ever taken it into consideration for your character writing? Well, I guess partially evidenced by the fact that I didn't know how to pronounce it. No, I'll have to be looking that up right now. I'm looking it up right now. This seems very interesting. Yeah, I like this. I mean, there have been many different things I try to look at. Hero's journey, story circle, all these different, and these are all guidelines. These are not, hard, fast rules for how to approach a storyline. But I think there's definitely something to be said for, you know, the concept of structure and also, yeah, roles that different characters can play. I remember hearing for the first time as a kid, it's like, oh, there's only 10 different kinds of stories or whatever was said. And I was like, that's ridiculous. But yeah, the older you get, the more you realize that, stories have a lot more in common than you might have thought they did. It's like, well, this movie's about dinosaurs, and this one's about like two people in a coffee shop. How could they be similar? It's like, well, I mean, they can be. It can be that there's just like a similar arc. It's just like different coats of paint. But I think the stories that apply more specifically to the specific worlds that they're creating, while also hitting on some universal truths in the process by embracing that specificity so much. I think that's when you get really compelling storytelling. Whew. What else we got? Miles Duels Art says Justin does an awesome job with voice acting. I know, right? Justin is a voice chameleon. A chameleon, right? I don't know how he does. It's truly magical because I'll hear it and it's like I just hear the character. I know Justin so well. I talk to Justin so much, and I still feel like I know just as much as you in regards to how those voices come out of him. I really don't know. It's amazing. He's quite the talent. Quite the talent. What else we got? Super Circuit. Were there any scrap characters for season 3? I feel like maybe we've talked about some of these. We maybe alluded to some of them a little bit. There definitely have been. You know, I guess maybe I shouldn't get into too much more detail about them because, I mean, who knows in terms of if like ever any, not necessarily if they would ever appear, but if there's ever anything that like story wise that would come from them that would get find a way elsewhere into the show that I couldn't really necessarily say. But I can answer your question by saying yes, that there were characters that were scrapped for the season. I can at the very least say that Starfruit at one point was considered to be a contestant, which hello again to all my fans, right? I mean, that's a character, obviously sang a party, had a really great time with it. It's funny because I think we all, sort of then voted a little bit on like who should be characters that can then be in in the season. I did not vote for him, even though it's me. It could have furthered my agenda. It could have been that then I would have a voice in the season, but I was just like, I don't know. There were other characters I was more interested in. That just goes to show. It's not about that. It's about who deserves to then be there. Not to say he wouldn't have deserved to be there, but I don't know. I can't imagine it being any characters other than the characters that we ended up choosing. So they're all just amazing. I love them. I love them. Let's see. Catastic. Hello, Catastic. I'm unsure if this was already asked, but are there plans to focus on some of the least favorited characters from the voting a bit more? Hmm. Interesting ways to phrase the question. Oh, I assume you mean because I at first I thought you meant the voting per episode, but you might mean the voting from the poll that ended up being used for which characters to like be in season 3. Yeah, I mean, either way, it certainly is not something where it's like I see that and I go, "Oh, well, this is the order in which the fans care about the characters, and that is how I will prioritize them going forward." Absolutely not. That is not how I think about that. No offense. No offense. It's great that, certain characters but I think it definitely, there's a range in terms of which episodes are fresh in people's minds. I think there are different eras. I think there are characters, sometimes this character is really beloved, but then they, pass the baton over to another, but then they could get that baton back as well. So, yeah, I mean, I definitely see it as, yeah, we're the ones that are writing the stories of these characters. So it's our job to keep it interesting and to keep putting forward new characters and ideas in front of you that hopefully you resonate with. Yeah. Jazzy Oliver's, trust me, I was confused about the season 2, season 3 deal when you brought me on. I researched the series. Yeah, I mean, fair enough. Fair enough. Oh my goodness. Weird Zero Demon. One letter off my name, I got scared. Oh, okay. Yes, oh, did Weird Demon come out before? This is all a blur. I'm just trying to answer as many questions as possible. I'm doing my best. I'm doing my best. Um, Jelly P. Joe, I love that every character from season 1 to season 3 have many different personalities. It's pretty impressive considering how many contestants that there are. I would tend to agree. Yeah, we really try to keep it fresh. It is a cohesive world, but everyone has their own things going on. Oh man. Whew. Just Ambi. Question: does Fan have autism or ADHD? Coming from a person with the two. Yeah, I mean, I think this is something that I remember getting asked about it on my own personal Tumblr back in the day, and it was, it was one of those things where it was like, yeah, I'm writing the character, and I'm just trying to like, sort of create this, authentic character, and imbue him with, this personality of like, really loving a show, and yeah, things that also like, I definitely resonate with. I think a lot of people definitely resonate with, and then yeah, hearing that this was something that that, like was seen as representation for autism and ADHD. I think it was just really awesome to hear that, and after having heard that, I think that's definitely. I mean, like well, once I did hear that, that was definitely something that I was aware of and would think about, and was just like, yeah, this is a way in which the character has been perceived, and I'm really glad that the character is perceived that way. And I think all the more for there to be characters that potentially are are shown on that spectrum to whatever degree like however it wants to be done. I think, yeah, I mean, I'm so glad that fans have been able to take that reading of Fan on, and it's certainly something I would, yeah, I would embrace everyone seeing it that way. And the same way, yeah, like I mean, Gregory is a character on Abbott Elementary. It's a great show. If for anyone who hasn't heard of it or doesn't know about it, and I was reading an awesome Twitter thread about how they felt that this is a character that while not canonically mentioned to then specifically be autistic, is like displaying characteristics that like feel like they are indicative of such. And I thought that was just a really great point. And I'll be curious to see if yeah that's something that continues to be yeah further embraced or yeah made textual within that show. But yeah, I mean with Nam and Sani definitely love touching on all of these different real things that people can be. And yeah, I think everyone being able to see that as a testament to the characters. And yeah, I think it's awesome. I think it's awesome that you're seeing that. And yeah, you're a cool person. Okay. What next? What next? Um Flying buddies. Technically off topic, but hi, Brian. I saw you liking posts mentioning some AO3 and Wattpad II fix. That might have been something from today about because there's the thing obviously in the Test Tube Exit interview, which Justin did an awesome job writing of like Test Tube reading fan fiction, which presumably Fan would have introduced to her. Oh yeah, well there you go. Without Test Tube Reads fanfic, I should really just read the rest of the question. Have you ever indulged or read any of them out of curiosity? I mean, listen, like I think it's a thing where it's like it's kind of crazy because I've definitely read fan fiction in general of different properties I love, but it is sort of crazy when it's like a show that then you write. Like, and I've definitely, I've like looked like out of then the curiosity, but you know, it's in this thing of where it's just like yeah, it's weird because it's just like, oh, this is them, but like I didn't know that they were saying this. When did they do this? We definitely had fun. Definitely have fun looking at it, and it's cool that it exists. I think it's great that it happens. I feel like I need a clone of myself that's able to look at all the different fan works that are created about the show because there wouldn't be enough time in the day. If all I did was then spend time doing that, then I wouldn't be able to make the show. But it's so awesome that everyone does that. Oh my gosh. Official Candle loves the part with Silver Spoon falling off the hot air balloon. I'm really glad you do. Oh my goodness. All right. UOI official. Brian, you are a brilliant writer for II. And I think you are a brilliant commenter for this live stream. There you go. People are saying about Experiment 21. I haven't read it in its entirety. I think that's something that at some point during like early days of quarantine, I was in a call with Justin, D, maybe Ben, and we were like reading it or some of it because it's such a seemingly so ubiquitous within the fandom. So at least have some level of awareness of it. But yeah, I mean, more power to everyone that enjoys these fanfics. From what I understand and from what I have glimpsed of it, it's certainly not for the faint at heart. So take that as a just know about just know that. Winter Spice opinions on the MLP and II connections. I can tell you more than just Rainbow Dash behind the cloud in that one season one episode. Please. Oh, interesting. More than just that. Um, Yeah, I mean, feel free to chime in on whatever specifically you would want. You think are the connections beyond that, but that is definitely something that happened. That is something that was inserted into the animation process. I think it was not even seen quite at first, which is really funny. And that was from Demario, I believe. Um, yeah, it was just sort of this thing where it was just like we did that, and well, I mean, it wasn't even a conscious choice on our part, but it ended up in there. And I mean, yeah, I love MLP. I think that's one of those shows that it came out at the perfect time, where it was like there weren't a lot of new anime TV shows that were airing that I was like invested in, and it was sort of this in between era. Um, and yeah, I thought it was just a great show, and watched every episode. It's fantastic. Um, what else we got? What else we got? Um, YouTuber fan has asked several times, "Hey Brian, do you think Fan was really a good player?" I mean, he certainly was able to analyze different patterns, and I think he learned more and more as he went. I think he maybe approached the game more as a spectator at first, but became more actively involved. Ironically enough, after he was, not playing anymore necessarily. But yeah, definitely had a lot of growth. Let's see. Crunch does stuff. If fan had a real human name, what would his name be? Gosh, I don't know. I feel like even when I see all these like the awesome humanized fan arts of different characters, I'm still like, oh yeah, that's Cabbie, that's Fan, that's that's just who they are. It's Pickle, it's Death Tube. That's just their names. Even if it wouldn't make sense for that to be their names, that's their nicknames. Or I don't know, they're in a world in which they're humans, but the humans have names like that. I don't know. That's just their names. What can you do? What can you do? And Equestria, yeah, going back to MLP and Equestria Girls, it's not like Rainbow Dash. It's not called Rainbow Dash, in the human world or whatever you want to call it. Yeah. Spark Rizzle, when developing a story, what kinds of things do you do first? I need writing help. LOL. Well, I definitely eventually touched on this probably like after you asked the question within the stream. So I would go back and listen to when I said that stuff. But yeah, definitely everything I've been saying about doing notes, outlines, beating out like it doesn't even have to be beating. It could just be like a log line of like or a couple sentences for what each character then needs to be doing, and that like yeah, let it be manageable. You know what I mean? Let it be manageable for yourself. Don't have it be like you have a blank page and then you need to figure out like oh what's happening next. Like do these little bite-sized pieces where it's like here's what this character's going through, or here's a scene I'm really excited about, and approach it like that. Divide and conquer, as it were. I don't know. The cold opens are the best. Oh, and I type. Oh, thank you so much. Really glad about that. That you think that. Mations asked, Brian, are you and the others planning to make Invitational a bit like sad or anything? Episode 12 is making me quite suspicious. Nam and Sandy is an emotional roller coaster, y'all. I would hope you are able to go into the experience of almost where the heart is and laugh and cry and feel things and yeah, just be able to sort of enter into this party atmosphere where it's just like wow, everything is so exciting and energetic. At least yeah, like the vibe for an episode like that. I think there are definitely a lot of different ways to approach episodes like that. But yeah, it's like you're coming into this party. It's very fun. But eventually, sometimes, as becomes the case in like a real party, things maybe get slowed down. It'll be someone who's like maybe like a little bit like upset or they're going through something and then they have a really deep meaningful conversation in this party environment and then they come out of that party feeling like better than they did when they walked in the door, right? And it was just yeah, at first it was like more of like yeah, just like not just like surface level, more of just like an exciting experience, and that was the way in which it was rewarding, it was entertaining in the moment, but then they leave with a deeper appreciation or understanding of life itself. That is wow. Was that pretentious enough for you? Yeah, that's the goal. That's the goal. Oh my goodness. What else we got? So many things. So many things. Doughy, new Inanimate Sandy shorts where each of the contestants is given a therapy session by Salt and Pepper help. I love Salt and Pepper so much. If anyone ever said, like, if I ever see any comments on Fans Fantastic Features about how, oh my God, Salt and Pepper is so annoying, that just makes me love them even more. I disagree strongly. I think they were great characters. I think Lexi did such an awesome job voicing them. Like, just, oh, they're so funny. It's so, I love them. They're great. Peppermint the Gamer, Brian, why do we talk the same? I don't know. I guess apparently we do. You would know better than me. Oh my goodness. Oh gosh, so many comments, everybody. So many. Already Lou, no way. It's Mr. Inanimate Sanity himself. Oh, was Adam here? Oh, did Adam say hello? I completely missed it. Wait. I gotta find when he said something. Oh, he said, yo, awesome. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. I'm coming to this so much later. Yes. Hello, Animation Epic. Ah, I love Animation Epic. Okay. Oh, I think okay. I mean, you could keep asking questions, but I think we're gonna have to cut it pretty soon because we've gone over 2 hours. So I'll try to catch up as much as possible. Wait, it's pronounced sniffer from Catastic? I don't know. It might be. Is it SNI4? I thought I heard it was sniffer. I don't know. I see. I'm able to remember in my mind how it seemed, but like if I'm not hearing it out loud, who even knows? Oh gosh. DXA Animation Studios 2023. Who thought the episode was beautiful? Hopefully you. Fist thingy. I'm seeing fist thingy love. The fist thingy was going through it. Yes, indeed. Jazzy Oliver, glad to play a part in fist thingy's very deep and personal character arc. Yep, absolutely. Well, official Brian was your favorite episode of you worked on. I mean, yeah, I said before about hatching the plan as like sort of a magnum opus, but like in terms of invitational episodes, I mean, call it recent advice all you want, but home is where the heart is. I'm pretty pleased with. You know, I mean, I've been extremely proud of how all the episodes I've written have come out. But yeah, it's always a magical experience to just be working on any episode of the show. To be honest, it's just yeah, it's really really great. It's hard to favorites. No, wait, you're asking me favorites. That's not allowed. Banned, banned for asking. Oh, Astrontasy says, I also wanted to mention I love your end scene in the new episode. It was pretty funny. Oh, yeah, my end card. Yeah, that was something I kind of did close to the last minute in the last couple of days of production. I feel like it's usually when we do the filming end card scenes. And yeah, I don't know. Just thought of this whole thing of, yeah, let's embrace the interactivity of, engaging with the episode. Even if you can't vote, there are still ways to be interactive. Sword Art Studios. Hi, Brian. Thanks for joining my live stream to season 3, episode 12 as well. We all really love just how much time and thought you put into the episode. Oh, I'm so glad to hear that. Yeah, I mean, you all do great videos. It's really wonderful seeing how much you care about the show. And yeah, just try to tune in and see, reactions from everyone who's passionate about the show, as you very much are. So yeah, thank you so much. Cheshire does things. Bro, test tubes is an interview though. Chef's kiss. Yeah. Ah, Yang brain rot. Of course, it's a question about Yang. Why was Yang so determined to get rid of Flory? He seemed very determined to help get rid of Flory, which seems a little weird for Yang. Is it possible he's acting like this because Candle left? Hmm. Hmm. Interesting. I mean, we saw in episode 11 when, Candle kind of, you know, makes her move in the elimination. You hear that Candle, you know, coming from. So, I mean, clearly had an effect on them. Clearly they were really appreciating Candle's guidance, and now they don't exactly have it. So, I mean, I don't know. Read between the lines. Oh, I've seen all the reception about the exit interview. Thank you so much. Kate the Great. Someone make a fist thingy edit right now. Oh, please. I need the fist thingy fan cam. Forcey VV, this episode was great. Thank you so much. Gray is cool. Hey, what are your thoughts on some of those Kenning the Inanimate City cast as a Paintbrush IRL? Someone who feels they are the character. I've always wondered how you guys feel about it. Yeah, I mean, in terms of how I understand Kenning, it's just like I think a way in which you very closely relate to a character, right? And you identify the character with the character. So, I mean, more power to you. If you really connect with that character, then that's awesome. I'm glad to hear that. I loved episode 12. Cabbie is so Twilight Sparkle and Canterlot from Winter Spice. Wait, let me think about this now. Huh. Okay, so it's I guess okay, so like Twilight and Canterlot, specifically in Canterlot Wedding, I assume is what you mean, where it's like, oh no, wait, oh maybe it's just sort of the idea of like, oh, oh please explain. Oh gosh, now I'm gonna. I hope you're still around. You're able to get more into what you mean by that. Is that like about like being in like high society that they don't know, or is it like it could be so overthinking this. I'm gonna sound like such a nerd right now. Oh jeez. Is it like the Twilight, has these ideas of who like, Princess Cadent and Shining Armor should be, and like, is sort of inaccurate and like makes people upset in the same way that like, Cabbie like doesn't fully understand like, different people's relationships. Is that sort of what you're going for there? Maybe I just totally overthought it. I don't know. Whatever it is, I'm so happy that you think Twilight Sparkle has a connection. That reminds me. There are occasionally times, and I think Casey has such a unique and distinct voice for Cabbie that is iconic. But I'm so pleased that occasionally there are times in which you could hear what at least I feel like reminds me of what Paget Brewster sounds like in her vocal performance as Della Duck in the DuckTales reboot, which is just such an amazing vocal performance. And it's like, and you hear it with when Cabbie says something like in this episode, when it's like, I know this, it just sort of, yeah, isn't it that kind of, I know there's some DuckTales fans in here that will maybe know what I'm talking about, where it's like, it gives me Della Duck vibes a little bit, right? Where it's just like this real, like, energetic, quality to the voice that I just think is awesome. And yeah, you hear a little bit of it in a scene in episode 7 as well, when like Cabbie and Test Tube, Cabbie's sort of making the pitch to Test Tube about really working together, that handshake moment. Yeah. You gotta combine our skills. Yeah, yeah. I think it's right around there. Jazzy Oliver also showing love to Short Heart Studios videos on II. Agreed. Those videos are amazing. Fantastic, fantastic, fantastic. Ooh, oh my goodness. I'm almost up to the 8 o'clock questions. It is 9:30. Oh goodness. Okay, I'm gonna scroll through a bunch of these. Lighty says, "Say something in fan's voice, please, Brian." There you go. There you go. There it is. Lollipop, yes, sir. Why did Fan leave an indefinite island? I think he confirms that basically in the episode itself. I mean, he doesn't have anything. He's done. It's good to go. Type what I love music associated with characters and those themes merging when two characters are together. It drives me crazy. Yeah, music is a cool thing. the leitmotifs and all that, themes associated with characters, it's great stuff. Lunatic. Lunatic. Home is where the gender is. What if you don't have a gender? You're homeless. Listen, I mean, however anyone wants to identify with the gender experience, wherever it is, any, if they're agender, whatever it is, more power to you. However you feel about it. You know what I mean? Yeah, the fan art this episode has been great. Totally agreed. Totally agreed, Jazzy. Oh boy, Fissa asking for this. I've seen how great that fan animation is of that. Very clearly official, unofficial episode of Silver hitting the gritty. So sure, you know what? Why not? Who wants to hit the gritty? Come on, surely someone is interested in hitting the gritty with me. Yours truly, your loyal fan, is here to hit the gritty. I'm sorry. Okay. It was where? What? I don't know what that was in reference to, but I clicked it. Let's see. What else we got? Blah blah. That's a very serious question. Why is Fan so cool? Why is he so fantastic? Oh man, who's to say? Fine buddies. Also, sorry, Brian, for me accidentally predicting everything that happens right before the episode releases. Slash silly. Ah, you see? It's just like me with Toy Story. That shows that you really know. You're tapped in. You're good on you. Good on you. That's good. No, I like when we see that people can predict things because that shows that, clearly we're staying true to some idea of where the story should go. I feel like it's a mistake if you do something like, I mean, it's great to surprise people, but like, you want to at least feel like it's something that has been built up to some extent. So I feel like if, yeah, you want to be able to do that. Sparkles were some new things you realized when writing new characters since you wrote the same ones for so long. Did you have any cool new realizations writing different characters? I mean, I think it's just embracing the idea of like learning all over again that same lesson of like, hey, these are new people and let them be new people and find out more about who they are. And, they don't have to just be one thing. It doesn't just sort of be candle is calm every single second of the time. It's I always think back to the line I threw into the season two first episode where it's like me phone says, and these are new stereotypes. I mean, the season two contestants, right? You start what's so exciting about taking a show like Inanimate Insanity is you're able to start the characters in a more stereotypical place where it's like, oh, you look at them, I completely know what this is. Like the soap wants to clean, got it. The test tube like science, got it. And then you delve deeper into them more and more, and they become more, human, as it were, I guess you could say. So yeah, it's just always about learning that lesson. Starting, there's a Toy Story 5. Yeah, soon it will be. Don't worry, Brian. As even so, you guys really show how much heart you guys put into this. So for 12 years going on, and no pun intended, right there. Thank you so much. Glad to hear it. Cop Brown, what was your reaction to Phineas and Ferb coming back? Joy, joy. I think I always loved Phineas and Ferb, but I didn't literally have to be. I wasn't able to share that love with others as much until later on in life, where I would meet people that were interested in it, and then especially with musical without a cool acronym and all the awesome people that are involved with that, and just the great friends that I've made through that. I talked. I just had a game night with them last night, and they just are really great, and I'm just excited to have that fandom keep being fed, So I'm pumped. I think there's a lot to be done. Yeah, and once again, I'll put it out into the world. I have some episode ideas. I could write. I don't know. I mean, look. I mean, alternate reality shows, a spiritual successor to Quantum Boogaloo in a sense. They're Quantum Boogaloo episode. Well, I don't know about spiritual successor, but it's like there's definitely an influence of like this idea of going back to the first episode through time travel and messing with something, and then seeing how the future changed. Because I always loved that episode and paying tribute to that. And yes, it does. That Marshmallow says even in season one as Phineas and Ferb reference. I love Phineas and Ferb. I love it. I love it. Well, I mean, I'll also say goodbye to Jazzy, even though they left an hour and a half ago. Yes, it was wonderful hearing from you as well, Jazzy, and always wonderful getting to hear from amazing fans. I agree. I agree. Oh my goodness, so many, so many questions. What is this? Disney XD? What are these? The bumpers? Oh my gosh! Wow! 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 What's nice is that a good amount of these are questions that I've ended up asking at some point. So I can just keep scrolling through them. And again, it says Brian Koch, everyone's favorite inanimate object character. Couldn't agree more. Oh, Winter Spice characters, like that one MLP episode where people kept calling the main 6 characters. Oh, I guess that was when I was talking about the lines blurring between characters and reality. Ah, yeah. Meta-contextual and all of that. Hey, Boyd, how do you feel about the Puss in Boots movie? Let's hear all of those deep thoughts. Oh gosh, you're gonna set me behind. I love that movie so much. I've seen it 3 times. I'm obsessed. Uh, oh geez. I guess I won't go too much into detail about it in case there's anyone who hasn't seen it here yet, because I don't want to spoil it. But wow, that is a movie where, I went into the theater, watched it, and was just like, this right here. Actually, you know what? It does kind of tie into this episode because I went and saw it, like right around when it first came out in the theaters. Just before, I mean, like the hype was building at that point, but like it still, I think now it's like built way, like it's really gotten like really, really like high up there. And I had just been hearing like about that it was really well done. And my friend Michael had seen it and was really recommending it. It was like, maybe it's the best DreamWorks movie. And I was like, whoa, 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 okay, I got to see this thing. Got to make it like a real priority. And like, yeah, it was just I saw it while I was kind of still like drafting the episode and writing the episode. And I was just like, this is so inspiring in terms of how it services an ensemble of characters. Everyone has a role to play. It all ties back to a clear theme. It is so engaging. The action is so inventive. So I feel like there's like a line that could be drawn between and I won't get into too much spoiler detail, but like just the inventive action of like something like how that map changes based on who's holding it, right? And like, yeah, trying to do like inventive action sequences with the floor. Like obviously it's just like I think I was just like reinvigorated, inspired again by creativity. That's how I feel whenever I see just a great movie. I remember that's how I felt when I saw Black Panther, the original Black Panther. I was just like, wow, I'm so inspired to write something right now because that was such a great movie. Just seeing a really well done piece of art for me, it's just there's no better way to just get so pumped up about writing something. Doesn't matter how different it is from what you're writing. It just shows the potential that creativity can bring. Oh, I rambled. Oh, geez. Even though I didn't spoil anything, I went on so long. Oh no, 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 no. What do we got? What do we got? Hmm, People asking the same questions over and over that I've already mostly answered. Okay. What do we got? What do we got? Bright Lights theme song, David Gannon. That's right. That's right. Got excited over hearing 4S. Bit my hand really hard. Ow. Oh, I'm sorry, Peppermint the Gamer. Hopefully it's not a talking hand. Hello. Hello. Yeah, that's me. I do the talking hand voice. I know people are like, oh, was that just ripped from a SCF movie? No, that was me. I play me phone's talking hand. That was Forrest's talking hand, and then it was transferred. Hmm. A toothbrush says pacing around my room. Brian, how could you do this to us? I don't even know what you're referring to. I guess I just do so much. Oh no. Judge does things. I love how Nickel said my second best friend. I love how people seem to interpret that very positively, even though it's like, yeah, it is. As Balloon just said to me, phone. Who exactly do you think you'd make happy with the comment of saying you my second favorite, right? Because it's like a little bit of a chip on your shoulder. It's like going up to someone and being like, I think you're really great. You're not the best, but you're great. Like, but Nickel. I mean, Nickel's being honest. Nickel's being honest. I gotta appreciate that honesty. This may be a spoiler, but I'll have to find out. The walkie-talkie, Indefinite Island, whatever. Indefinite Island, all of the foreseeable future of season 3. You're asking about the future? It is a spoiler. I'm sorry, but I'm glad you're invested. Thank you. Um, what else? What else? Cat, will Nickel ever properly apologize to Balloon? That's a great question. Next question. um, Nicholas, the anime. Are you guys gonna be working on season 2 anytime soon? There has been work done, and there will continue to be work. We'll get to it. I promise. Just got to be patient. Very, very patient. Okay. All right. Let's start. If there's any questions that came in after like 9:15, I don't know. Well, I don't even know if I could get that for these are ages. You guys asked so many questions. I mean, bless you all. Take the bucket is forever your favorite elimination. Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's iconic. Yeah, I'm glad everyone agrees. Monty the Animator. I love the episode. I watched with my friends. I almost cried. I'm glad you were able to have a nice experience with the episode with your friends. The elimination gave you goosebumps in episode 11. Yeah. X object star X. Me too. Me too. Eliminations asked, will you guys ever bring back the cutscenes like the episode 7 Cabbie elimination scenes? I love those scenes with all my heart and soul. Cutscenes. Do you mean like the fact that it's like a cutaway from when Cabbie's eliminated to like kind of that stylized scene? Like, yeah, I don't know. It depends on what you mean, I guess. But we're always trying to do cool artistic things. There's probably an obvious way to read this question that I'm just not getting because I'm an overthinker. But you know, what can you do? What can you do? Flying buddies. Quick question: does Paintbrush still think about Marshmallow? Ah, yes. I swear, Paintbrush has to have abandonment issues from the amount of times people have left or betrayed them. I mean, Marshmallow leaving clearly really affected them, and Marshmallow just hasn't been around for a while. They don't really know what's going on with Marshmallow at this time. You know what I mean? So, but hey, I mean, how could you forget? Clearly, it meant a lot. It meant a lot for Marshmallow to be away. We love Marshmallow. Oh my goodness. What else do we got? Funny the Animator. This episode was fantastic. Ah, fantastic. It's one of my favorites besides the Inanimate Pets episode. Ah, yes, that's a good one. I really love how the episode goes and the soundtrack. The episode is perfect for the elimination of Paintbrush. Thank goodness you think so. Thank goodness. Thank goodness. I wouldn't want anyone to think that it was anything less than worthy of what a great character that Paintbrush is. Whew. Cody Simp. Will you guys be doing any smaller things between episodes like those comments again? Once again, we are too busy. We are so busy. Wait, I said the name right. OMG, Samioso. Oh wow, I did it. I feel so proud of myself. Nice. What else? What else we got? Oh, if people are spamming the chat, I'm sorry. One of the animator. How many times does this episode take you to write it? Oh, I guess there's like different drafts. Yeah, I mean, I think it's funny because there are drafts or at least versions of scenes that I'll just write for them myself that maybe no one ever sees because it's just I'm doing it for myself to sort of figure things out. But it usually is that our formal process, at least on invitational episodes, is that there will be the first draft of them will go through, and then whoever that writer is will then hear the notes from the rest of the team. So, for example, if then Justin is writing an episode, then me and Adam will look at it and be like, "This was awesome, Justin," because Justin always does an awesome job. Or and then just be like, "Hey, here are some things that I feel like here's sort of then like I think this is what you." It seems like the vision that you're trying to go for is here are then some notes of things you could do to help accomplish it, or just some joke ideas, whatever. That's always I think the spirit to approach something like this, and let it really be. Yeah, it's up to that head writer of how much they want to take into account of what they're going to do, and yeah, I incorporate whatever feedback that they see fit, and at the end of the day, it's yeah about what they feel is right for their episode, and then yeah they do that next draft, and that's usually pretty much yeah that's like maybe the final draft, maybe there's a third draft that's then slightly different. At that point, it's then more like probably more subtle things mostly, but yeah, there's certainly a lot is done on like yeah what is considered the first official draft, at least for me. It's like definitely something that's been refined and like worked on quite a bit. Oh, the slow mode. Maybe I just should have done that. Oh gosh. I should have just done that, huh? That would have probably helped. Maybe I should do it now. I'll try to do it. Let me see if I know what I'm doing. Okay. How do I do this? Let me edit. Let me go into. Just bear with me. Let's see if I can slow it up just a bit. doing? How do you do this? Where is it? Oh, who knows? Oh well. It's too late. It's too late anyway. Um, I'll figure this out. Bear with me for a moment. Um, where is it? Sure, this is really entertaining right now. Oh gosh. I can't I don't know. I don't know. Oh, I thought there was a button for it. I'm not an old man. Now I'm seeing the earlier things in the I mean the later things in the chat because I opened into a new window. Stop it, Simon. Stop it. Whatever. Whatever. I can't. I don't know. We'll just keep going. Now I'm gonna get into an even bigger hole. Spark Rizzle. I'm terrified to ever ask this, but have you ever watched Moral Oral? I think its writing is fantastic, especially dialogue wise. I need to go back because I watched some of the beginning of it, and I know about how like that show really develops. But yeah, I mean, because that's Starburns Industries, right? Yeah, I gotta go back and watch the rest of that. Clearly, what else we got? So much spamming. Oh no, I'm just scrolling right past it. Just scrolling past it. Beanie Man says, "OMG, imagine a season 4 that's similar to the Looney Tunes show, where all the contestants are chilling together doing mundane things." Yeah, I guess that's because of what I said before about like the sitcom vibes. That's a fun show. Yeah, I like how that reinvented the the whole vibe of Looney Tunes because Looney Tunes is obviously already just such an elevated thing, right? Like, like it's the characters that are larger than life, and it's cool to see how they can be put into a setting where it's like kind of like a Seinfeld type, vibe. You know what I mean? But it's still like, or like that kind of atmosphere of that kind of show. But like it feels true to the characters. I think at the time it came out, there were some people who were like, "Oh, is this really like? Is this good? Like, is this a betrayal of the characters?" But it's not. Like, I think it's really well done. I appreciate it. There's so many funny Stonehenge. Like there's so many really funny things in that show. I really appreciate it. Um, it's just super well done. It's super well done. Um, yeah, let's keep going. What else we got? What else we got? Um, you know what? People keep asking about favorite II episode. Thank you, Caddy Kane, by the way. And like, I think II episode. What I want to hear from everybody is, what's your favorite episode? I'm curious. I'm sure there's a lot of variety to these answers, and yeah, I just want to know what you think specifically. Um, everything's valid. Whatever you think. I want to know what you all think. Let's see. We got from Dux. Tessie mentioned that she likes reading fan fiction. Did Fan introduce her to the world of fics, or did she discover it by herself? I mean, what do you think? Tessie wouldn't necessarily. I mean, I'm sure it's plausible that Tessie could have found it herself, but I think it's pretty funny. This whole idea of like, you know, Fan was like, "Hey, there's this, there are these this world, this textual world of texts that you can see people writing what they think that the world should be, what the show should be." And yeah, just kind of yeah, inducted them into the world of fan fiction. Um, oh, here we go. Wait a second. Did I just figure it out? Wait. Hold on. Hold on. Oh, wait. Where is this? Yes. No. It's in customization. I'm still trying to figure out the slow mo thing. Here it is. Aha! Aha! 60 seconds. You know what? Since it's been going so long, I'm making it 120 seconds. Take that. I did it, everybody. I did it. I did it. I did it. I did it. Um, okay. Oh, so much spamming. These users are going into timeout. I'm figuring it out, everybody. I'm figuring it out. Okay. Tomover, sorry that this isn't about episode 12, but what do you think about shipping? Whatever floats your boat. And if that boat is literally a ship, then there you go. I mean, listen, relationships, whatever you think, whatever makes you happy, you know? I could also block them as well, I guess. Yeah, okay. That's what people tell me to do. Okie doke. No problem. Yeah, don't keep spamming. If you keep spamming, then you're gonna get blocked. You've been warned. You've been warned. Warned. It's for the sake of the chat. Um. Oh god, wait. Does this mean that once the season is over, the floor can come to OJ's hotel? Maybe in your imagination. I don't know. Who's to say? That's a spoiler question. Um. X Object Starks asks, question, on the II website, he claims Silver puts pressure on himself, keep himself looking pristine. Could he be insecure about himself and uses his regality to cover it up? I love Silver so much. Yeah, I mean, I think you really get a sense of that in Snapshot Showdown, right? Where it's like, I don't want someone to get an embarrassing picture of me. And he already feels that, like, the he doesn't even feel good about the pictures that he takes of himself, usually. He's very insecure about how he looks, you know? Oh, gosh. Okay, what else we got? Spamming? No more. You're blocked. Oh boy. Um, Someone said there's some episode from some show about avoiding all critics because they're just haters. Maybe their blood boils. My question is, what do you do with critics? Yeah, I mean, I don't know what episode that you're talking about, but definitely, I mean, criticism is very important. I think I tried to touch on this with the ballpoint pen episode, in which I literally voiced a critic. You know, of course, anyone who's a creator, anyone who's a writer, anyone who does anything that puts their work out there has had some experience with criticism. And what I think people don't understand is that criticism is not an inherently negative word. You know, it's often used as such of like, oh, let me give you some criticism, as in, like, here's what you did wrong. No, it could just be like you are critiquing, you are analyzing, you are deconstructing, whatever it is. You're providing your insights. And yeah, I mean, as ballpoint pen says, you know, and I am very really, I'm quite proud of the conceit of ballpoint pen, like this idea of like, you know, everything he says of like what art should do is either you have a ball or did it have a point, right? And it's like, you know, sometimes the answer to both is yes, and sometimes the answer to both is no, right? So it's like, and that's very true. But you know, at the end of the day, if the person making it isn't having a ball, then really, what's the point? It's true. You know, criticism, you know, you could be aware of it, take it into account, but you have to be having a good time, and that's really what matters at the end of the day. And criticism is so important. Criticism is so important. Um, yeah, it's really important in all of its forms, in all of the different ways that it manifests, whether it's positive, negative, somewhere in between, more objective analysis, whatever it is. I love criticism. Um, Critics are cool. Nicholas the Animator. Hey, Brian, I'm actually working on an Insanity invitational intro, but it's BFDI. Do you think it's a good idea? Certainly. I think I know what you mean. It sounds cool. You go for it. What else we got? I eat toothbrushes. Will we ever see Test Tube Tango used in an episode? It was used in an episode 5 of this season. You hear a little bit of it. So go back to that one. Yeah. Test Tube Tango. Y'all made it real. That was just something, for anyone who doesn't know, back when Hatch in the Plan was coming out, season 2, episode 14, we had a trailer. There was a shot where it was like, I mean, I feel like everyone who's here probably already knows, but in case you don't, there's a shot where, you know, Test Tube comes up to microphone and it seemed like maybe there would be some musical number, maybe it would be some tango, and then Test Tube Tango became a trending thing. And then us and, you know, John Metis, of course, actually then brought it to life, and it's just so beautiful and awesome. And yeah, then it, you know, it was first on the soundtrack, and then eventually got worked into the series itself just a bit. So yeah, you hear it in there. So how's that for interactivity? Okay. The same questions again and again. Gonna aim to be cutting this off maybe at 10. Maybe that's where we'll do it. We'll see if I'm sure I'll get sucked into something. No, I won't. Or maybe I will. I don't know. Eight toothbrushes. Have the general arcs for season three have been decided beforehand? I mean, a lot has been planned beforehand. Obviously, there's certain unexpected elements that we were then prepared for, but there's a lot of preparation that goes into it. But we also have to be willing to go with the flow of new ideas and embracing new things as they come up, because that's an important part of the creative process too. So yeah, a lot of pre-planning, but also different things that come up as they come, as they present themselves to us. X object Starks, you have to tell her. Yes, that is indeed what Fan whispered to test tube. What else we got? Um, hmm. Spark Rizzles, we ever plan to do a video similar to the video we made after episode 14 of season 2 came out, going over the writing of the episode and how it was done? It was such an amazing video. Thank you so much. I'm really glad that people appreciate that video. Once again, as I've said many times, do not have a lot of time to do anything. This is part of what's nice about this live stream, where I could just sort of immediately talk about these things. So I like, kind of just touching on all of this stuff in the moment. But yeah, I mean, I guess that's also, I mean, that's another reason to maybe look at if there's anything else I felt like I wanted to touch on that hasn't already come up. Um, yeah, there's definitely, themes of the idea of what it means to truly know someone that also come up in the episode. And yeah, cool to see what was going on with the butterfly as well. I think there's a lot that people have analyzed about that on social media that's super interesting. What does it mean? What is the butterfly trying to tell Nickel? Is Nickel interpreting it properly? Is he learning his lesson? Who's to say? Um, yeah, there's a lot of stuff. And a lot of this stuff in this note stock is stuff that, is either things that did end up into the episode or things that maybe will come later. I'm saving for later. So yeah. So I'll try to, well, just getting through a lot of things now. Trying to give you guys as much insight as possible. Wow, I've been talking a long time. Good thing I had some water with me. Oh wow. Okay. Now, Posage did Paintbrush intentionally get out in almost the same episode three times. Episode 11, season 1, episode 12, and seasons 2 and 3. I mean, it's certainly not like it was like, oh, we planned it out perfectly of that, but it was definitely something we were aware of. It just kind of worked out in that regard, where it was like it was episode 12 for both of them, but definitely like knew about it and wanted to make sure that this episode 12 was also true to everything Paintbrush learned in the previous episode 12. Just the themes in that same spirit. So yeah, I mean, we're definitely aware of it. And certainly episode 12 always has some sort of throwback to the first episode of Inanimate Insanity, as some people have pointed out too. That's just a tradition. It is a tradition. Um, the stream is a W. Thank you. I'm glad. I'm glad that it's not just extremely boring. Um, maybe now it is. I'm tired. Let's see. Baxter, what is your opinion on Cabbie as a character? I think she's pretty cool. Leave it at that for now. I like all these characters. Who writes these characters? I'd like to shake their hand. Hmm. Cabbie File Periwinkle. Brian, what do you think about the people in your community who specialize in analyzing? Do you think they look too deep, or do they get it just right? It's funny that this comes from someone that has Cabbie in the username, where that's a character that's very introspective about how they analyze, others or things, right? And it's like, oh, are they doing right? But I love when people analyze. I think there's no such thing as thinking too deeply. There's some, where it's like, oh, like I remember I engaged with there was something on social media where it was like, "Oh, yeah, well, an English teacher will find a way to find meaning in red curtains," right? But it's like, I love when an English teacher does that. I love finding so I mean, and of course, that's maybe something where it's just like, yeah, I mean, curtains tend to be red, but I think there is so much symbolism to be found, and I hope that we've crafted an experience with this show that rewards you for paying attention, and that it's like, "Oh, maybe am I thinking too hard about it? Oh, maybe they didn't think it." We thought a lot about it. Doesn't necessarily mean that everything is exactly what we thought, because there are so many ways that, when you have so many eyes on the show, there are gonna be, different interpretations and stuff, but we've there's been a lot of thought poured into it, so I always appreciate when people go into it. There's no such thing as looking too deeply. I would never want to. If I as a fan, I would love watching like a show that would reward me for paying attention, like a Community or Phineas and Ferb, or it's just like, oh man, that vase that then they said that Doofenshmirtz was going to give Perry as a gift for Christmas, then him actually getting it later on in like however many episodes later. That's amazing. I love that stuff. Rewards you for paying attention. I want to reward the viewers for it too, because that's what they deserve. They deserve the best. Um, okay. Just gonna keep scrolling on through. See, Guns, I gotta say, episode 12 was amazing. Thank you. Okay. Yes, Charlie, it was you that I talked about an hour and a half ago. Or however long it was. Wow. Beanie Man, it's just so important to me. I've been watching since 2017, maybe, and it's really shaped me as who I am, and I'm so thankful for you and the amazing team. We're so thankful for you too. That's seriously so cool. Thank you. Hmm. What else? What else? This is lightning round. This is lightning round. Come on, people. Stop asking that. Oh, a super chat from Coral Sturgis. $2. Why do you like reviewing movies and TV shows? Thank you for asking this question. I mean, yeah, I guess it just ties back perfectly into what I was just recently saying about like finding the deeper meaning in things. I always love doing that. There's a reason we make jokes about fan doing stuff like that, or I mean, not even necessarily the jokes, but we've sort of worked that into the show because I think it's just cool. It's cool to like really look into both the intent of the art and also what you personally get from it. I think it's just an awesome thing. And it's great to share that with the world. Um, you know, Chills Swirl says, "Thank you, Brian Koch. Thank you, Brian Koch. You and crew are some of my favorite people in the OSC, and I find it so inspiring all the stuff I got accomplished and inspire me to create an object show someday. I'm so glad we've been able to inspire you and look forward to seeing whatever you do. That's awesome." Whew. What do we got? What do we got here? Check the play. I love the baseball reference of him being Nichols' number one best friend in the new episode. You see, y'all pick up on it, even if you don't say baseball's name outright. Y'all know. Y'all know. First straws. I just want to say that every new episode gives me a heart attack in a good way. I hope in a good way. I don't know if there is necessarily a way in which that it's good, but I know what you mean. Thank you so much. Um, Not exactly I-12 related, but why were the exit interviews for the characters made before and came back just now? I mean, we've just been busy. I'm not gonna pretend that there's some grand reason for it necessarily. It's been busy. Catching up. We're catching up. Um, Abby, so how's Yin Yang gonna cope with like most of his thinkers team slash family having either been eliminated or betrayed them? How would they be able to cope when they're only able to side with Cabbie? That's a great question. I guess you will have to see as the series goes on. Oh my goodness. Cauliflower periwinkle. Will vowels be used in episode 13? I think there's probably vowels in every episode, right? I would have to assume. Oh gosh. Okay, okay. Still flying through. Still flying through. Already, Lou. Not a question, but I have to applaud all the diversity and inclusion in II. It's easy for anyone to resonate with any character from disability to gender. It's lovely. Thank you so much for saying that. I think that, no, I mean, that's so important. And I want to make sure that, yeah, everyone is able to resonate with the characters. So can't do that without, having diversity and inclusion. We love diversity and inclusion. Okay, what do we got? Thoughts on other people creating object shows, fan content, and other things. Because of the inspiration of II from Suki, I think that is awesome. Inspiration is great. Do your thing. I love it. If that then inspires you to make something of your own, or just like, it's also the fan works you create are your own as well. So I love all of that. Do it. Do it, do it, do it. I mean, listen, this came from, Adam was inspired by BFDI, as we all were. I was too, So it's like, and here we are. We're doing our things. We're all doing our things. Hmm. Charles, what's your opinion on Tissues? He's my favorite II character. Heart emoji. Do you think you'll ever do anything else with Tissues and or other characters that were only in season one slash eliminated early? Great question. I love Tissues as well. I love all of the characters. Try to serve them all as often as we get a chance to. I mean, Yin Yang is a perfect example of like that was a character that was kind of on the shelf for a while, so to speak. And then in Waffling About, that great short that Adam did, that was just something where like Yin Yang popped in, did a quick cameo. It was the first time Yin Yang had spoken in years. And now Yin Yang is a major character in every episode. So I mean, we've seen it happen before. Who's to say it can't happen again? I mean, it's always focus is shifting at all times. It really is. Fan asks, "Hi Brian, I hope you're having a good day. Can you say?" Oh, hold on, let me drink some water. Whoa, we're both fans. Hi, fan. In fan's voice. Yep, there you go. Real grassy says, asking Brian if he has his least favorite character is like asking a parent if they have a least favorite child. Exactly, it is. Oh my gosh. Oof. All right, 5 more minutes. 5 more minutes. That's it. That's it. And then we're closing up shop. Or probably, if you add something now, I'm probably not even going to get to it because this is still the 8:30 messages. I'm just letting you know. You just close it out if that's if that's all you care about. Um, the Code of On. Where's the Inanimate Sanity season 2 episode 15 release? Please pick me, Brian Koch. I can't. We don't. I will come. Just be patient. I promise you. I promise you. Thank you for caring. Thank you for caring. SpongeBob Toaster. I too has not been canceled. I'm assuring you, SpongeBob Toaster. You have to believe me, SpongeBob Toaster. Please. I'm begging you, SpongeBob Toaster. The season is not toast. Okay. What else? ACYP YouTube. Hi, Brian. Can you confirm me as Clover's biggest fan? Clover has a lot of fans, but sure. Why not? Good job. You love Clover. Well done. Well done. Well done. Oh, gosh. Skull, you did a whole thread of Silver falling with different screams. That seemed so funny. Oh, yes, you did that thread. I loved that thread. Well done. Well done. Oh my gosh. Oh, thank you, Miles Doodle Art, about the idea of reanimating. Definitely pick something with fan if you would not like to choose. Yeah, I mean, whatever you want to do. Like I said, whatever you want to do, I'd be happy with. Have you done? You know what? Uh, is that what you said to Pickle? That would be a cool scene. I love whenever anybody has an interpretation of that scene. Um, sure, we'll put that out there if you heard that. Yes, I did already answer that season 2 is still in production. Thank you, MZ, with your light bulb Santa hat icon. I love that. Thank you. Thank you. We can't be everywhere all at once forming this. I toothbrush. Hey Brian, it would be so awesome. It would be so cool. It would be so awesome. It would be so cool if you said last time on Inanimate Insanity. Once again. Well, there you go. Okay. Punch the floor from Mighty. No, don't do it. It'll hurt him. Stop. Benny, dearest, my son, do the VA see the script for the other characters or just theirs? They get a copy of the full script, which they can read at their leisure. But they get a document that specifically breaks down their lines and puts them into a sheet, and also like gives sort of direction for each of them those lines. And sometimes we'll have like recording sessions where we'll actually then be there like to direct them through it, or sometimes they can just refer to that direction that's on the sheet. But yeah, they do get the full script as well, typically speaking, I would think. Yes. Yes. Not I would think. I know. Why am I saying that? Stop saying so many words, Brian. Already live. The floor can take the form of baskets on a stage. He isn't really the floor, is he? He's just everything. Everything all at once. Wow. Let's make a movie with a name like that. That would be really cool. Yoshi, the contestants ever find out where Marsh went, or do they still not know? They don't know. They don't know. They don't know. Okay. Yes, Awesome Lucas 78. Season 2 is continuing. It is. I promise. I promise. SpongeBob Toaster, no! I hope you heard me when I said it later that I too is not over. Come on, SpongeBob Toaster. Come on. What do you think of I won, Brian from Smiled Nathan Games? I mean, listen, it's there's definitely there's been plenty of improvement, everyone will agree, but it's hard not to look back on that and be not only charmed, but like there's so many like just great childhood memories from having worked on it and, coming into animation class in high school and like sometimes showing episodes to that class as they would come out and getting them done. Um, a lot of great memories. So many great memories. It's fun. I is right is very much in my heart. Season 1 is part of that. Of course it is. Okay. We hit 10:10. Think that's think we got to start wrapping it up, everybody. Think we got to start wrapping it up. Oh, there was a super chat. Seagon says his candle's face when she was about to fall down and is a reference to Suitcase's face from season 2 and episode 8. Fantastic question. And I know the one that you're talking about. This actually it came up on Twitter, I do believe. I think it was yes, it was Joseph that animated the scene. And I think it was confirmed that it was more just a coincidence, maybe subconscious influence. I don't know, but yeah, thank you for asking the question. Yeah, it's always fun to have the random faces in inanimate insanity. That's a part of it. Maybe it doesn't necessarily happen as much as it used to, but maybe when it does, it hits hard. People seem to really enjoy it when it did happen. Oh gosh. Oh my goodness. Okay. There are so many questions. There really, really is. Wow. Oh wow. I actually feel like I characters are easier to relate to since they aren't people. Sometimes it's hard to relate to people you don't look like or people you don't have the same background as. Interesting. Yeah, I mean, I think I would hope that, at this point that people are able to, you know, identify with a wide range of characters. And I feel like, with the II characters especially, there's something to be said for that, they don't by being these, surreal characters that are not human beings, that they're able to be identified with on a different level that's very accessible. But I think there's also something to be said for that they're objects, and for some at least, it's even harder to connect with objects than with people, right? So some people were like, put on something live action. I'm an adult that likes my live action, but my animation, oh geez, for the little kitty kids, not for me. That can't be for me. Oh gosh. Okay. I gotta call it here, everybody. This is I will not let this hit 3 hours. Absolutely not. That is too much. It is just simply too much. I gotta stop it here. But thank you everybody for coming. I really appreciate you all for uh entering into this stream. And yes, Kate the Great, on papers being perceptive. Mephone also says early in the episode, I would think someone as perceptive as you would understand. Hmm. Well, he does say he says pragmatic, so I guess we didn't show our hand too much there, but yeah, it is still that kind of vibe. Very astute of you, Kate, as always. Um, yeah, yeah, no, 100%. Um, I could be here all day. I really could, but I want to make sure that I don't get a sore throat from having spoken so long uninterrupted. So I think in order to avoid that, I must rip myself away from here. Just have to. I'll touch on yeah, there were some super chats and I would want to make sure that we're able to hit on those. So let me see. I know there was one from Sock the Cat here. I'm scrolling $5. I really need to know how does Balloon write fan fiction? Also, what types of things does he usually write? Well, we know that Balloon does the poetry, of course, right? I mean, that definitely came up in the show. So he kind of like he has his like he talked about like the lone mini witch and everything about that. Was definitely really big part of who he is, it seems. It's part of yeah, we saw that in other episodes. And yeah, I guess he writes, it is that sort of poetic thing where it's like it's not necessarily about something specific, but clearly there's some metaphor or something getting at the idea of loneliness. Maybe it's something that he feels deep inside. Often poetry it's expressing these very genuine emotions in an abstract way, so to speak, right? So I think that's what Balloon is able to accomplish as a result of that. So, you know, there's that. Um, oh gosh, is there a way to see all of them? I just saw that by checking over on the YouTube chat to see if then there was. Oh, here's another one. Butterdog gave $2. They didn't ask anything though, but you know what? Thank you, Butterdog. Makes my life a little bit easier for a second. Oh, and then they gave $5. Oh my goodness. And then Ellie Gabret said, "Hello, Brian. Hello to you as well, Eli Gabret. Thank you so much. I really appreciate the support. Thank you." Oh gosh, y'all are too good to me. You all are too good. You all are too good. Oh gosh, you just can't pull me away. No, no, wait. I'm seeing that it's almost 3 hours. I might as well let it hit 3 hours now. You got me. Y'all got me. You did it. You all did this. I hope you're proud of yourselves. I hope you're proud that you got me to just stick around and do this. Because I love and care about you all so much, you know? And yes, O.L. Thomas, we probably won't be remaking anything previously. Because it's like, just it is what it is. How could we change it? Everyone has seen the show already, you know. But I mean, who knows? Then someone will clip this later if we ever did something like that. They'll be like, "Wow, there goes wow. There's no consistency in what they think." Oh dear. And thank you, Silly Mao, about how yeah you love how the II crew can be really good at writing LGBTQ plus characters, even more than real TV shows. Even if II is a web series, you guys can do amazing episodes, writing, animating, etc. Thanks. Really, really appreciate you saying that. Um, it's an important thing. If I keep scrolling through this fast, then maybe I'll finally catch up to the end of the chat, and then we can officially end it there. Um, ooh, Gray is cool. What were your favorite scenes in the most recent episode? May or may not draw them. I mean, I'd love to get even more fan art of the Cabbie and floor scene. I would love to get even more fan art of the bot and the floor scene of the volcano. Um, yeah. Or just yeah, I mean the taking the leap. You know what? Taking the leap. I want to see a fan art that like really pushes the taking the leap idea. Um, yeah, yeah. If we get something with that, I would love that. Thank you very much. Thank you for asking. Okay. Someone said my little object. I'm just scrolling through lightning speed, trying to hit on everything. You love this, Violet123? I'm glad. I'm glad. He goes, Brian, can you say in Fan's voice, I'm funny! I'm funny. Well, I don't know. I like to think I'm funny. I guess that's up to you to confirm. Okay. Oh yeah. Just scrolling past through. We're scrolling past through all of this. Now I'm in the 940s. Yeah, I just gotta go past all of everybody. That's what I do. That's what I do. Okay. Okay. It's gotta be over. It's gotta be that's it. That's it. That's it. That's it. That's it. Here it is. Where it's past the 950s. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Miles Duzart appreciates how interactive I am with the fandom. Thank you for saying that. Okay, yeah, this is the super chat that I read before. Thank you again, Sock the Cat. All right. I think we covered all the super chats. Great. We did it. Thank you everybody for joining. Home is where the heart is, and you have made this stream feel like home for me. Thank you so much. And with that, I bid you all adieu. See you next time on Inanimate Insanity. Take care.